Okay, we're live.
You sure?
Yeah, we're sure.
All right,
We're
good.
sure. We're live. Hello, everyone.
Look at
We
me
have
behaving myself.
look at Kim Burley is a was our first member. She's at the 3 month mark, and she is now a white brilliance time in white color. She's
Oh, am I too? Let me
I don't
see.
know.
Let me see what I
Don't
am
know.
because
Yeah,
I joined on the same day.
okay.
I'm still pink. Dang, I'm still pink. When does
Well,
mine
it
change?
just might be a day. And by the way, real quickly, because we're having a guest on, we're having the Dad Challenge podcast joining us for this topic tonight. And in a way, it is drama because it's big YouTube drama. But we're going to talk a little of our own drama real quick before he comes on. He'll be on in 15 minutes.
Yes, because we
Uh,
are going to have company, so we don't want to
yes, we
act
don't
a
want the
damn
company.
fool
Yeah,
in
we don't
front of
want.
the company.
Yeah, I did add some pink ribbon for breast cancer, and I did. What else did I add? I forgot. Oh, the pink tiara that someone asked for, a tiara. So
Oh my
I
gosh, that tiara is so cute.
yeah. So I
I
did.
love it. That's adorable.
Yeah.
A
So you have.
tiara, the tiara and the thong almost look like opposite. Look, I did artwork with my emojis.
Yes, you did. You did. You
I
made
did artwork.
artwork.
Isn't that pretty? Art. That's right. Art.
Oh yeah. So mods, please drop the links that I gave you for his channel and also for his podcast. Hold on a second. It's his podcast.com. So you have both those links. Please drop it for him. He's a really great channel. And of course, he'll introduce himself once he gets on here. But he has a lot to say about the family bloggers. Well, not about all family bloggers. His main concentration was on 8 passengers because they've been in the news. But we will get to that
We will
because
get to
that
that.
is drama. But we need to just talk a little bit about this crazy drama that's going on.
Oh, wait a minute. Mine's white now?
Mhm.
Seriously? So, like, I signed up like 30 seconds after
Oh,
Kim
maybe.
Beerly? I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Yes, I did. It's white
Yes.
now. Woo! All right. Nice. Nice.
That's funny.
Thank you. I feel better now.
Welcome and welcome new members, especially Laura.
Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Remy. Yes, we're going to talk about our
Welcome,
good friend
Laura.
Laura.
I'm so glad that I'm pretty sure well, I'm not positive because I don't know who she is. She might have paid $4.99, but I did. No, she said that she paid $1.99 to fuck us up. Anyway,
Well, and
uh,
that was her exact phrase was to fuck us up. How exactly is that going to fuck us up?
I think it's hysterical
I
that
think it's hysterical. I'm
they are.
sorry.
She's so triggered. They're so triggered and bothered
She
that
is so triggered.
here's the thing. I did not go to anyone. I did not go into anybody's private Discord. I'm sorry if there are people that don't like you and they came to me.
Yeah. And I'm living for it. Bring it on. Bring whatever you have for us.
And
Sorry.
here's the truth. I don't care. I don't really care about shit talk. That's not that's not my thing. I don't care. Everybody shit talks. I'm concerned about any other bad things that might happen. And here's the thing. There's actually more than one of them. So that's it. They're focusing on one person. There's more. So I just think it's funny. But I find it funny that Laura joined not only my membership but Molly's as well.
Yes, thank you. Hey, Save Robbie. I thought that was crazy. So she has made fun of Marianne so many times that Marianne has joined her membership, right?
Yes.
She
Yeah.
has made so much fun of that. And now to find out that not only is she in our membership, but she's also in Molly Golightly's membership. I'm sorry. She is so owned. This whole community owns her ass and she can't stop. She's so triggered. And I'm sorry, if that makes me a terrible human being, then I'm a terrible human being. But when she's triggered like that, it's funny as fuck. I'm sorry, it is. But
And see, I can't reject any members because they just sign up under their YouTube name, and if they make a troll account, I don't know who they are.
yeah, we don't even know who she is.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't know
see,
who any. I only see your YouTube names. I don't see your
yeah.
real names. That's
If
it.
she doesn't ever type in the chat, we can't do anything. So she's just going to stay in there, which is fine. She can absolutely stay in there. There's nothing that I said last night that I didn't mean to say, and I would have said it publicly, and I'm happy to say it publicly. I don't mind. The reason that we do a private chat is because we have to. It's a perk for our people. And unlike you, we actually give the people the perks that they signed up for. Hashtag wine glasses. We actually give them what they signed up for. So that's a little perk is that they get to have a more intimate stream with us and we're fine with it too. But there's nothing that I'm saying there that I wouldn't say publicly. The fact that you're so triggered about it, Laura, is hilarious. I'm sorry. It's funny as hell. The other thing, though, that is not funny, and I'm really sad that you would try to stoop this far, Laura, because, well, many reasons, but I never said a word about your children. I've said many times that they did not deserve to have CPS called on them. Nothing about that call was fair or right or good. Nothing. And I've never supported that call. I have never supported any of your calls, actually. And I've never said that your kids deserve that. So shame on you for trying to turn that into something that it isn't. What I said was that it's getting harder and harder to feel sorry for you when people touch your real life. And that could mean in many ways, not CPS. Anyway, because of all the doxing that you do, all the looking up of people that you do, all the real life touching that you do, it's harder and harder for people to feel sorry for you when someone touches your real life because you support it. You're all for this kind of lifestyle. You're fine to go into everybody's real life and touch it with no problem. You were going to call on Amanda Lynn's kids. You were going to call on Kiki's kids and say that she was raping her son or her students or some. I don't even remember what you were saying the same thing about me too, that you were going to call CPS and tell them that I hurt children, my students. Like, you're just fucking disgusting. And I think you have amnesia. Like, you don't remember what you say. You don't remember what you say. And it's sad. You really need to listen to your own shit. Like, for real. You need to, because yeah, Donna, exactly. There's quite a few people now who are making it hard to feel sorry for. And that's just how I feel. That doesn't mean that your kids deserve anything. Your kids don't deserve what you do to them. I'm sorry. I don't normally talk about your parenting, but I can if you'd like. Your kids don't deserve anything about being on YouTube. They don't deserve to have their private, most horrifying moments displayed for your audience, so that you can get, what was it, $1,800 she got?
Yeah.
Fucking fraud. Exploiting your own children so that you could get money. Don't you dare come on your stream with your boohoo fake crocodile tears and start playing the victim now.
And blame it
on us and with your crocodile tears. I don't believe for a minute that you were even really crying. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
Hi, everyone that's coming in. Hi.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That whole thing is, listen, we're going to talk about this more on Friday night, because I don't want to get into, there's so much to talk about and respond to.
Yeah, we have something else planned tonight, so we'll have to deal with this more in depth on Friday. But I wanted to make sure that we handled at least that one issue. I want everyone to know that I never, under any circumstances, said a word about her children, that they deserve anything about CPS. I've always stood against that. And I still do to this day, Laura. It doesn't matter whether I like you or not. In fact, I think I even said the phrase that I cannot like you and still want to protect your kids.
Yes.
And, that's pretty much how the entire community feels right now. A lot of people don't like you, but would still protect your kids. So the nerve of you to try to turn that into something disgusting and ugly, because that's all you are, is disgusting and ugly. You are so insecure and so jealous. And it's really sad. It's really sad. I hope that you can find some peace in your life, for real. And I hope that you stop going real life on other people, because, like I said, it's only going to make people want to come touch your life again, harder and harder and harder. And her whole big thing about, I put that tweet out because I wanted Randy to see it, because I thought that maybe she would, what did you think she would do? Like, feel your threat and back off? Is that what you thought? Because that's not what happened. You showed your ass and you look like a fool. That's all that happened. You look like a fool. And now with the backlash that you're getting, hey, Marcia, the backlash that you're getting is now causing you to do the backpedal of all time. I mean, it's insane, the backpedal that you're doing, and how all of this is now our fault, which is embarrassing, because that's not true. And I guess I will give you your own words back to you. You have said that, everybody was so triggered because Diane put out private tweets and private Discord messages. Well, that was our private membership stream. So if you're triggered, maybe you shouldn't be watching.
It's true. That is true. Why are you watching, Laura? And you use the whole thing.
Paying to watch us too. Love it. I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, she says we have no content, but she used us for content last night. So you're welcome to it. It wasn't
Yeah, have it. I'm
anything
not ashamed of anything I
spicy.
said last
Yeah,
night.
it wasn't
I'm
anything
perfectly
spicy.
comfortable with everything I said. I would say it again. I don't have a problem saying it. I'm fine that she decided to take it public, and I'm glad that you struck her, and I hope you strike her every single week if she plans on doing it. One of those days, the strike will stick, and you'll lose your channel. Bye-bye, channel.
I mean, and let me just say this: we did not cause CPS to be called. We are not responsible for her putting out her private, the private the allegations that were brought against her children. We didn't do that. You did that. So
Yes.
keep
When
that
the
in
first
mind.
when the first CPS worker came in, all of the things that CPS worker reported was all shit that we heard off of her own live stream out of her own mouth. So yeah, in a way, Laura, you do have some responsibility because of what you put out on this platform. Your children are exposed to dangerous things, and you know it, and you don't care.
And
I'm
that's all
I'm
I ever
strong.
said.
You won't take me down. I'm strong. I'm strong. Well, the last person that sang that song was Truthfully Trisha, and look at her now. That's going to be you in a year. Like, you realize that? You're ridiculous, Laura. You're ridiculous.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, we'll talk about it more on Friday night because she said something. So how does it feel, Randy, to be punched in the gut? How did it feel? So you're trying to equate that you get into trouble on the internet with people day in and day out and day in and day out.
I thought that she was trying to be an adult and get Randy to come to her as an adult and say, maybe we shouldn't go this far. Was she trying to gut punch her, or was she trying to come to her as an adult?
Oh,
which is it?
Said. Those were her words.
Oh, okay. So which is it, Laura? I guess you can clarify for us. Which is it? Were you trying to gut punch Randy, or were you trying to get her to talk to you like an adult? Because I don't believe that you were. I believe you were trying to threaten her, and that's what you did. And the way that it has blown up in your face has caused you to step back a second and realize that you done fucked up, boo. You fucked up. Because all this is doing is making the community hate you.
Our guest is here.
All right. And more on Friday. All right. More on Friday. We'll talk more about that on Friday, guys.
Hello, the Dad Challenge Podcast. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Wendy.
Hey, nice to meet you.
I know you've already talked to Diane, right?
Yes,
okay.
We've spoken.
Well, it's nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming on a little bit late. We needed to take care of some housekeeping issues in the beginning, which we didn't want to do in front of company. So now that we're done with that, let's talk about why we're here.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like it if the Dad Challenge Podcast would tell my audience exactly what he does on his channel. And let me just say, I came across him because of this very topic, 8 Passengers. And of course, I've always been interested in family vloggers and feeling as if and I do watch a lot of family vloggers. I have for years, and 8 Passengers are they're one of the channels I watch. So when all this came to a head, that they were being called out by many YouTubers, his channel was one that I came across. So is that what you primarily do? Do you find channels that you want to talk about, or situations that you want to talk about? Explain to my audience what you do.
Right. So this all happened kind of spur of the moment a couple of weeks ago. I really haven't been active on my channel. I tried to do YouTube a million times. It never worked. But then something came across my feed somewhere on Instagram or Twitter about this situation. And being an adopted dad, I was like, man, I have to talk about this because it really hit me. I had no intentions of being a YouTuber or anything like that. And this thing hit me hard. And it hit a lot of people hard. So that's kind of why it's exploded to as big as it is. So I just got on the camera and I said, I'm talking about this. People like this cannot get away with this type of stuff. And so partly why I do what I do is for like justice, internet justice. I don't know. That's kind of like, I hate to see people get away with things when they're
oh man, you're speaking our language right now. Yeah,
you are telling you.
That's all we do. That's what we do too. So I totally get it.
Awesome. So that's where it all started, and it just snowballed, and like we're close to 20,000 subscribers, and it just exploded.
Yeah.
I'm looking
And
at your channel and
yeah.
it's looking like it was like 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden you just exploded out of nowhere.
Yes. we
Yeah,
did,
it just happened.
because of
So
this topic.
congratulations. Well done.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Well
it.
done. You're welcome. Thank you for
So-
standing up what's right. I appreciate it. Not many people are willing to do that anymore.
So, like I said, there were numerous channels that brought this to the attention of YouTube in different from
Mhm.
different areas, whether they were in the makeup arena. It just really exploded. And the other thing about this, there's actually a petition out there for people to call CPS on this channel, and they have a lot of signatures. So let me just start by saying I started watching family bloggers way before I, came to YouTube to even be part of the community I'm in or have a channel. That was my go-to on YouTube. So I watched people like it's Cutie's Life. I watched Ellie and Jared, who happened to be the sister of Ruby from 8 Passengers. All of her sisters have a channel, and so do her parents. Her other sister, Bonnie Helene, she's not as harsh with her upbringing of her children or putting them on the spot, but she has a couple of times. She's done some things that made me cringe, like her daughter was like 7 years old and told her, I want to get my ears pierced. But when she got there, she got really frightened, started screaming and crying, and they kept her there 40 minutes because the mother wanted those earrings in because she paid for them instead of just saying, okay, honey, we'll do it when you're a little older, like 13 or something.
Yeah.
And then she took her American Doll away because she was biting her nails, and she did it on live stream. So, on a video. So I felt like, why are you doing that to your kid? The other sister is pretty good. Ellie and Jared, they don't do that. They're very calm. The other sister has a channel as well. She doesn't do that. And the mother and father are fine. But Ruby, I'm only going to say, and Kevin. I feel like Kevin just kind of sits back and lets Ruby take control. What do you think about that? What do you feel about the father? Do you think he's just like out of the picture?
Yeah, well, I did a video on this that said how complicit are the dads in all of these situations, and part of it is that, if you could put a percentage on it, like I'd say it's equal. My marriage is equal. If we mess up, we're together in that. But I think when it comes to 8 Passengers, apparently he's a pretty big deal he's a professor or something like that in school. Yeah, and so he's probably not as in tune with all of it. He probably just like kind of nods and smiles and does what he's told, and then comes home, and then the drama hits, and he's like, oh, here we go, I have to make a video because we sent our son off to some crazy camp, and we have to justify this by making it feels like they only come out of the woodwork when the S hits the fan. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I need you in this video because it needs to look like we're together on this.
Exactly. Okay. So let's start there. Okay, there's 2 things that they were really called out for, and one of them was their teenage son. I'm not going to mention his name, but he at the time was 14. And this place, it's called Anastasia or something like that. I looked it up on the internet, and I really read through it. It said not for brats. We're not here for brats, but it's more for teenagers. It seems that are like juvenile delinquents that have real problems. Let's talk about why he was sent there for 49 days into the wilderness in Arizona, to just be out in the wilderness with very little to, he had to fend for himself. It was kind of crazy. So let's talk about why he got sent there. All right. So the first thing that they said about him was that he was just having behavioral problems. He's a teenager. He's 14. So he has a brother that's 8, and they were sharing a room. I guess they weren't getting along because, siblings don't always get along. Siblings don't always want to be with their sibling. I mean,
get along.
Especially when they're 8 and 14, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to get along. That's not anybody looking to get along. That's a fight waiting to happen. Keep going.
I mean, they want to have their own friends and they don't want to hang with their siblings. I know. I mean, when I think back with my sister, we were 3.5 years apart. I didn't want her around me. It wasn't until I was married that we started getting closer and we became really close. When we were kids and I was a teenager, I didn't want to be around her. I did everything that I could possibly do to get away from her. But in this case, she put them together in the same room. And I guess he, bullied him a little bit, but, sibling bully. So this particular situation, Okay, so he got sent to, I'm not really sure why they sent him away for 49 days. I think I'm a little confused sent there, but I know that when he got back, he messed up again, right? Is that how it went?
Yeah, he got back and he I watched the video and they were all
It's pretty
laughing
funny.
except for the
It's
mom.
pretty funny.
Well, he pranked his little brother saying we're gonna go to Disney and he got them
Yeah.
all up in the middle of the night and he got his sunglasses on and then
That is so bad.
it's bad, but it's funny. And then
It
That
is
is
he
horrible.
and then he made his brother hang from a basketball net for like 3 minutes. And
Yes.
initial reaction to that for me wasn't like, oh, he just 3 minutes, but apparently that's a big deal. Like you hanging from something that young, and so that was the big one I think that broke the camel's back was just constantly bullying his brother. But I think if you go back to Anastasi, it's if you have to go back to the reason that the fundamental, okay, and I don't want to offend anybody out there, but I'm an ex-pastor, so I've been in this like ministry industry for a long time. Fundamental people, no matter what religion you're from, always take things to the highest level. So she's a fundamental Mormon,
Yeah, she's a
meaning
Mormon.
so he was just exhibiting normal behavior. But if you're a fundamentalist, okay, normal behavior to them is not normal. They're like, no, I need to cut out every bit of this behavior, and so they go to the farthest, vastest extremes because they think that's it. But he's probably not doing drugs. He's probably not getting girls pregnant. He's probably not drinking up in the woods and doing all this craziness. He was probably just being a normal teenager, and that's why people are super upset about this.
Yes. Yeah, and from what I watch on your channel, I've always seen him to be very funny and always making everybody laugh. He seems like a really good kid. I really like him. So I've never seen anything, but of course I'm not living in their house, so I can't see everything, but I feel like he's just a normal kid. And here's the thing, they did move away into a big, beautiful house, almost $1 million home that she earned her money off of her kids on YouTube. And that's why it says in the title, do family bloggers exploit their children for money? And I do think in this case they do. She has made so much money off of clickbaits, and she'll bring anything up. My kid has acne. I'm going to have to talk with her. She's on a period, whatever. All these things that, I mean, I would cringe if my mother even told like someone in my family that, but she's doing it on YouTube.
Well, the kids seemed, she did a video where she talked to them about the negative comments and the questions they got. And the kids are like, we like this. And that's fine. You think about this in about 10 years, when these kids are adults after university, trying to get jobs, trying to get, date and do all these normal things that people do when they leave the house. By the way, when these kids leave this house, they ain't coming back.
Oh yeah,
they're not coming back.
Yeah, they're not.
But when they get into the real world, they don't get a say in how much people know about them. These girls who've had their periods exposed online, their hairy legs, their armpits, their acne, all their issues, everything's exposed for the world to see. They're not going to understand the ramifications of this until they get older. And she's made all the money off of this. And apparently, she even says things like, these aren't your bedrooms. What are they? And the kids are like, well, they're the rooms that you let me stay in. It's all hers. Everything is hers. She's the queen of the castle for everything. And just that mentality right there scares the heck out of me for these kids.
You know what she did once? Apparently, they leave their clothes on the floor or whatever, things around. She picked everything up and put them in bags, and she had them all sit around a table, and she said, this is what we're going to do. If you want the stuff that's in this bag, you can pay for it with money, your own money, to get your own things back that you left on the floor, or you can do a chore that's worthy, that adds up to what this item is worth, or it's going in the garbage.
Didn't she say too that she keeps their stuff when she confiscates it? She keeps it for like a minimum of 6 months. Yeah, that's a long ass time. Yeah, to be punishing a child.
Yeah, and she also, when she does these things, like I watched the video where she took, so they did payday, which is, I found out that they get paid for grades, which I'm cool with that. I give my kids money if they get good grades. It's a reward for what they get, but he got bad grades, so he had to like pay. And what she does is she puts the camera like this, and she's like, so Chad lost his phone for the whole summer, and then she pans over to him, and he's trying to ignore her because he's pissed, and she's looking for the reaction, and she's looking at the camera like, look at me. There's so much narcissism that she can't see past it. That's the scariest part here.
Yeah, it is scary. And of course, just to let everybody know, this summer they have all lost all of their electronics, their iPads and television. Television. So, and here's the kicker. They moved an hour away from where all their friends are, from the school that they were going to. And they admitted, especially Chad admitted, I have no friends.
Yeah.
They all have no friends. So they only have each other. And the mother said, well, you could play when you're 14, 15. Who are you going to play with? I
Yeah.
mean, she says the most ridiculous things. I really feel
Well,
sorry for them.
here's the thing about YouTube fame, especially for the 15-year-old dude there. He's a good-looking kid. They're all very good-looking children. It's
He is a
great.
good
And it's
looking
like,
kid.
and so what this is the issue he's gonna start having, and he probably already gets a ton of attention from where he is, but he's going through this. And I'm okay, you two ladies have never been a 15-year-old boy. And let me explain to you what a 15-year-old
No,
boy.
I haven't.
I've got a 13-year-old boy right now, and it's going through the motions right now when it's just like these are the summers, and I don't think everybody gets to do this, but everybody should. It's the summers of love. It's the summers where you actually go out and find out kind of who you are. You go to camps, you do all these things. You get to find someone that you, even if it's for a summer, just enjoying yourself, being around girls or whoever that you're attracted to and enjoying those moments. And now that they're so far away, this kid, he's not suffering per se, but it's so important for her, okay, and to her monetary value of her channel to keep everybody tight together and not to expand out. Imagine these people start finding friends and leaving, and they go out so much that she has no content to talk about.
Right.
This kid is her main bringer of money. Like, he gets all the channel views, and she focuses all the because she does all the talks about when he's in trouble. He's the one who gets in trouble the most. So it's in her best interest to shelter these kids so much that she doesn't want them to go out and get regular lives. That's the scariest part about all this, is that no one's really seeing that she's just kind of hiding them away and doesn't care that they don't have friends, and will ground them for 7 months and do all these things because she needs them there. She needs the content.
And she had him sleeping on a beanbag chair for 7 months. So he was
Oh,
away.
yeah. So
he was away at this wilderness camp for 10 weeks.
49
and then,
days.
49 days, pardon me.
Yep.
And then comes home and then immediately has his bed already stripped away, door stripped away, bathroom door stripped away.
Yep.
And he's sleeping on a beanbag chair. How is that okay? How is that legal? Like, are we allowed to do that?
Well, that's why people are talking.
I thought we had to give fundamental basics to our children. Like, by law, you have to provide them with at least a bed. You don't have to give them a door, from what I understand. Although a door in the bathroom.
Well, a door in the bathroom. Like, I'm the type of parent that I have a 13-year-old that's got through trouble. We've had to take his door off a couple of times, and as this kind of came to me, I'm thinking about it, and as he gets older, he's only 13, so there's a point I would never ever take a bathroom door off. Like, you need your privacy to be who you're going to be. And part of this is, and hear me out for this is the scariest thing about this whole thing. This kid is going through the motions of, let's be real, what teenage boys go through. They do a lot of things, they're exploring their bodies, and he's in that age, and she's literally taking all of that away from him because it goes back to the fundamental religion where they don't think, like, if you think about that stuff, she doesn't even want her son doing any of that stuff. And I'm not here to advocate for how you're going to raise your kids and what they do with their own bodies, but she's literally taken every ounce of privacy this kid has ever had. And it's not just for YouTube, but it's probably because of the girls texting him and everything else. I'm pretty sure, if I'm reading the situation correctly, part of the reason he was sent off was because of the text messages and things he's getting from girls and sending and receiving. Part of that's probably a big reason of it. But let's be real. As long as there's not anything untoward like nudity and everything else, and he's just being a normal teenager, we can all look from the outside and say that's cool. But as a fundamental religious person, that's really, really big for them.
Yeah, it is big. I remember when I think Sher, well, I said her name, the older daughter, she had like a somewhat kind of a boyfriend. I don't know. They put him in a video. It was kind of awkward to watch because it was kind of forced. They were all sitting around the dinner table, and I don't know. I just felt really bad for her. I felt uncomfortable for the whole situation. Because even in real life off the camera, that's an awkward position when you have a bunch of siblings and you bring a boyfriend home, right? They're going to all be looking at him, judging him. But with Chad, oh my God, I said his name too. All right, well, whatever. I feel like taking that away from him for 7 months. He slept on a bean bag in the family room for 7 months. That's a little bit extreme.
Imagine yourself as a parent, okay? And I am a parent of 4 children. There's no way I could justify walking by a kid sleeping in my family room every single day, or waking him up or getting ready for school, and just every day seeing that and being like, yeah, this is cool. No problem. How do you not feel an ounce of guilt at all? And then she comes on and says, well, you guys are just wrong. You're just projecting what you think of. But I like, even the most wealthiest, privileged people get a bed. Even the poorest people get a bed. And this kid literally has everything he can. That they could have done something else, right? But but that one big thing, or not having a bed, is really honestly the linchpin here. That people are really just like, it's the 5-year-old not getting a lunch, and this guy having to sleep on like a beanbag or a floor for 7 months. This is going to be their downfall, and she doesn't see it, and she's just like, oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, she did do a response on Instagram, and then they did that, that video where he was revealing that he didn't have friends. That they took that video down. They've taken down quite a few videos because they are getting a lot of heat. But people have, of course, recorded it and uploaded it, and they talk about it. But yeah, she was very defensive when she did her response about abuse, saying that she doesn't feel there's abuse and they're getting what they need and blah blah blah. But yeah, so let's go to the 5-year-old. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the 5-year-old is responsible. Now, listen, everyone, she's 5 years old. She is responsible for making her own lunch in the morning and packing it and remembering to take it to school with her. All right.
Yeah. So not just remembering to take it. She's responsible at 5 years old for packing a healthy lunch for a 5-year-old. Yeah. She's responsible for that. Okay. Yeah. So then tell what happened. This one story.
Okay, so let me just say this. At 5 years old, I can tell you right now that my mother packed me a sandwich that I took to school with me, and I would have not even been able to do that. So 5 years old is a little bit young to start making your children responsible for packing their own lunch, or even doing certain chores. Anyway, she gets to school. She has no lunch. It's lunchtime. The teacher texts the mother and says, I just want to let you know that so-and-so didn't bring her lunch. And she said, well, she probably expected me to say, okay, I'm going to drive back and I'm going to drop off a lunch, but I'm not going to do that. And she proceeds to say, I hope, she said she's going to have to starve, is what she said basically. And then she said, I hope no one intervenes, and gives her food.
And she does it with such a smugness, which is why people get so upset, because she's on the camera with her fake eyelashes and she's like, and I really hope nobody gives her anything. And I hope that she starves for the day because she has to learn. Like this is the point right here where she's like, I'm not sure I think she's smarter than we think she is. She's doing this because she knows it's going to get the hits. She knows it's going to be controversial on her channel, and these are the videos that get a ton of hits. You imagine every 1,000 hits she gets, she's getting paid. So when she's doing something controversial, she's looking for content that's out of the ordinary. She's doing it on the camera every single time, and her kids will have this out there forever. So this little girl is going to be, even if she's not abused, which I'm kind of on the fence about like that whole thing, but I've heard other things where she's like failing to, what's the word? She wasn't eating enough, and she was just not failing to develop. And there's more issues because people were commenting like, why is she not growing? Why is she so small? Because apparently these people feed their kids like nothing. Like they're like very portion control, like, very, very tight with everything. Well, she is. So she runs the show all levels. But what gets me the most is just sitting on the camera inside her car saying, and I hope no one feeds her. And I hope this, like, what do you think people are going to say? Like, that's crazy. How do you not see past that video?
Well, here's what I find funny about her is that she has a storage unit that she, puts tons and tons of food in, like rices and things like that, or, that will last you for 3 years. But I do watch what she feeds her family. I am very shocked when I watch what she gives them. There is no such thing as having, like, let's have meatloaf tonight, or let's have pork chops, and let's have this and that. I mean, these kids eat crap. She doesn't really make healthy meals for them.
And then she boasts about her cookbook, which is amazing. And I called her on that. I was like, there's nothing that you cook, because when you cook good food, it comes from the heart, and there's no heart there. So they candy, and they don't eat healthy meals at all. And I'm like, but they also don't need to, like, I don't know how the kids stay so fit or like look to be healthy, right? Because they always have these hauls where they're eating candy on TV all the time, and maybe it's just what we see at that moment.
Well, they're probably sneaking food.
Yeah.
They're probably starving.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe that the messes that she makes to them for dinner. I was kind of appalled. And yeah, let's bring up the cookbook. It's a family cookbook because the mother and all of her siblings all have a channel. So they did this collaboration and they made this cookbook. Now the mother, she does cook. I mean, she cooks roasts and, you know, whole turkey dinners. I mean, she really, really cooks. Them, all of them, not so much. Her other sisters are kind of like the same, especially Bonnie Holine. She's not, she's got, I think, 4 kids, and she doesn't really feed them well either, in my opinion. Ellie and Jared, I really like them. I think that she's got her head on straight. She doesn't, you know, she doesn't take her kids. I don't feel like she exploits them. I don't think she doesn't punish them in front of the camera. The only thing that she did get called out for, by the way, was she was teaching her oldest son, which is about 7, how to light a match. I was cringing. I was like, you're giving your kid a wooden match and teaching him how to light it. Why? Why does he need to know that at 7 years old? I said,
Yeah.
what if he becomes a pyromaniac or if he burns the house down? So she
Yep.
did get a lot of flack for that. That's the only time that she's ever gotten flack. But this whole 8-passenger thing really has me concerned. I don't know how she's going to come back from this other than just admitting that what she's done is wrong. But remember, she does have over 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, you get to a point at that level where it's like you can be exempt from it because not only comments shut off because they're a family channel, so they don't really get called out, but all the narratives that are happening on the side where people are looking up 8-passengers, the next video in the suggested list are videos like ours. They're like, Ruby has failed, this and that. But it's interesting you talk about the other family because I sort of knew, but the entire family has YouTube channels. Did
Yes.
they ever chime in on this type of, did they ever say, you know, I don't like that she did that, or are they being called out because they're connected to that, or are they just kind of like doing their own thing and ignoring the whole thing?
I think no, they're kind of just doing their own thing and ignoring it. The only thing that I did see that was put out was by the oldest daughter, and she kind of made a kind of nasty. I don't know if it was a tweet. I think it was on Instagram, but she was like, creepy guy, creepy 40-year-old, because someone said that they would adopt them. You know, like some father reached out and said, I'll adopt the kids because they felt the same way that a lot of people do. And she kind of got a little nasty for somebody that's Mormon, just in my opinion. And she said, she called him a creepy guy. But she didn't understand that people were just concerned. And she kind of is the one that set the record straight for the family. But no, the other siblings really didn't get involved at all.
Yeah. Well, this seems to be, if they're kind of not doing it to the level that Ruby is doing it, though, because Ruby is like exploiting every moment of these children's lives, like every single moment. So they get sick. They got, I was watching this. I couldn't even finish watching half them. Shave the legs with her daughter, wants to shave her legs. Show me your armpits. And then and then she's going to her son and she's like, or she's going to sex talk with her daughter. And her daughter's like, I don't want to put this on TV.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, it's going to be like, she keeps filming anyway. Like
she
ignores them.
Ignored it. Yep. She just ignored it.
That's crazy. Ignoring your kids when they're asking for something teaches them that consent doesn't matter. And consent is a huge issue in today's culture, especially when I grew up. No one talked about consent. So what she's basically saying is that you don't have consent. And when you express something like this, I'm going to ignore it, which then teaches them to expect that out of other people.
Gosh, that is such a good point that you just said that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. That is huge that you just said that.
Yeah, consent is important. That
is important, especially you're raising a young man. You're teaching him that basically feelings don't matter, people's feelings don't matter, all of this. Well, and from what I understand, the oldest daughter is like the golden child. And we've been studying a lot about narcissists lately. And there's always, typically with a narcissist family, there's the golden child, and then there's all the, rejected children, I guess, apparently. But there's the golden child, and it sounds like this daughter is the golden child, and especially the other one, the son, is the one that gets picked on all the time.
Well, because she's a replica of her mother. She does. I mean, she really is, and she thinks like she is the second mother in that house. She's, and again, she's not really old enough to be in that position. I guess. I suppose if something happened God forbid, to a parent, that she would think that she could handle it, but she's really not emotionally old enough, and age-wise not old enough. But she can get a little bit, controlling as well. I've seen her get controlling with her siblings.
Yeah. Like, again, I'm going to go back to this. When it comes down to it, and Ruby has made, I'm going to say 2.4 million subscribers. They've been up for like 8 years, something like that. They've made
Yeah.
millions, by the way. And so if she is actually as greedy as people think she is, like, and like hoards everything to herself, I mean, something tells me they're probably going to pay for their kids' educations and things like that. I don't know, but based on what I'm hearing, maybe not. But in the end, if this whole thing falls apart, and it will, it's going to be her kids like basically suing her for on camera saying, I don't want to talk about this on camera, and her just continuing it without consent. That's going to come down to a major family contentious issue, especially as these girls get older, going through puberty, becoming their own autonomous individuals, and like having friends and people influence them differently outside of the Mormon culture. It's going to end up super, super bad for this family altogether. Like, it's going to, and if it doesn't, it'll be a miracle.
Well, I always thought about that, even before all this happened with 8 Passengers, because I do watch a lot of family bloggers. I often wonder, I would say to myself, I wonder someday if these kids, when they get older, are going to sue their parents, because they're going to say, why did you show me on the toilet? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? You didn't have my permission. So I think I would be a little upset about it, but I always thought about that. But now what you just said, I have a feeling that very well could happen. And the other thing that she does not like to pay for their clothes, but she hoards and shops clothes for herself.
This bothers me a lot, because if you think about this from a perspective of just monetary gains, she makes a ton of money exploiting these kids. People watch because of these kids mostly, and Ruby, of course, because they like her, I guess. But if she's not, at minimum, I mean, even if you're not a YouTube family vlogger, buy your kids their clothing. Like, I have an 18-year-old. He tends to buy his own clothes, because if I buy him something, he won't wear it. And I get that. But, I'll buy him instead, though. I'll buy him in the big ticket items. Like, he wanted this stinking, I don't know, like Champion crossed over with Dr. Seuss. So he was like $160. But you get him these types of things because you should clothe your kids at all times. I don't understand, where do these kids get their own money to pay for the clothes? Does she give them to them as allowance, and then she expects them to use their allowance, or how does this work?
Yeah, they get allowance, but then they have to pay for their own things, like even their own things that they left on the floor.
Unreal.
They're either going to be thrown out, or they have to pay out of their own money, or they have to do more chores that equals what that item is. I mean, the whole thing is a crazy dynamic to me.
Well, and the weird part too is that, and I see people talking about it in the chat, we have child labor laws, in this country. We have child labor laws. We have, all kinds of things to protect children from, being overworked and, not getting what they deserve, and, consent and all of that. And it doesn't seem like social media really has that kind of protection in place yet.
No, it's got to happen, because there's a protection in place for child actors, and that didn't take place until the 90s.
Right.
Macaulay Culkin was one of the big kids who got taken advantage of. He made millions. His parents took it all, right? And then that changed, because now the kids, all the money goes into a trust in their name by the lawyers and everything else. That's what's coming next.
But that's not happening here.
No, it's not. But it's going to come next, because legislation will then start kicking in as these people making millions of dollars off their families. It's going to take 1 or 2 lawsuits for people to be like, okay, we need to legislate that if kids going to be in a channel, you need their consent. Then it comes down to, like, as a parent, why can't I consent for my kid? It's because you're exploiting them on camera for the world to see. It's different when you say, I want my kid to do this. Like, I want my kid to go play, basketball or baseball, and I'll pay for it. I'm like, look, he doesn't want to do it. I'm like, but it's exercise. You're doing it, right? It's different than saying, I'm going to put you on YouTube without your consent, and I'm going to make a ton of money on it, and you don't really have a say. Until it's legislated, they're going to continue unchecked. And YouTube makes a lot of money off these channels, so that's why they wouldn't, it's not in their best interest to shut them down. And there's a lot of them that make them a lot of money.
Well, and I hate to say it, but YouTube is notoriously, lax when it comes to taking down people that really need to be off of this platform. They tend to give you a lot of leeway before they finally take you down. Sorry, I sound like this. I'm just getting over a really bad cough. Hold on.
No problem. Yeah, and so YouTube has a responsibility eventually, and it's just going to take a movement, enough people to get on the platform and say, YouTube, stop this, stop this, stop this, stop this, stop this. But unfortunately, in the end game is just about money. So if they lose money because of it, then they will. So, and they have a lot of things to consider, right? But if exploitation of children should be a no-brainer at all times.
Right.
Agree.
And,
Yeah.
and they do get they also get a lot of paid sponsorships, branding with different companies. So they're getting paid from that as well.
Well, I remember when Daddy of Five, was it Daddy of Five? Is that who it was?
Yes.
Was doing this with his kids, and you know, they lost everything, didn't they?
Well,
they
yeah,
all of a
because-
sudden the CPS got involved, or whoever got involved, and they actually lost custody of a couple of the kids.
Yes.
Wow.
And like all kinds of things. You know, the precedent is out there. They're not untouchable. And and the more that they continue to do this kind of stuff, people are going to weigh in on it. And I'm not one for calling CPS on people. Like I'm not big on that. I'm a mandated reporter though, so if I see abuse, you know, I do have to report it.
Mhm.
But I'm not everybody, and there's plenty of people that will be happy to report them. I'm sure they already have, and will call this in. Of course, they're going to be hounded for the rest of their days.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing:
you're going to end.
If you put your life out there for the world to see, it's fair game for everybody to commentate. Then, if you go on Instagram and say, "Well, I'm deleting all your comments. I'm listening, but I'm deleting all comments. We just don't need this negative stuff," and they get upset with people for their honest opinions about this thing, and it's not just 2 or 3 people. I could get if there's 2 or 3 haters, but there are thousands of people that are chiming in this and adding to it every single day. Here's the thing: just like Hollywood, unfortunately, if you're going to put your life out there like this and you're going to do dumb things to your kids, people are going to call you out on it. You need to have a thicker skin, or you need to stop doing those things and say, look, go do some soul searching, go find some therapy, and really get into it. Well, it looks to me that the narcissism and pride is so large, especially in fundamental people who follow fundamental religion. They believe that everything is like, this is the scariest part. If she's not willing to be wrong, then it's just going to get worse from here.
It's interesting. That reminds me of another somebody in our community who's never willing to see that she's doing anything wrong. Her kids are suffering for it, and it's everybody else's fault but hers. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
But I do agree on. Listen, I don't know. There are close. The last time I looked, there was close to 6,000 signatures on that petition to contact CPS. And you also have to keep in mind, on family bloggers' channels, their comments are shut off by YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. So no one can comment anymore. There was a time when anybody, I don't know. Do you know who Sam and Nia are? Okay. So let me tell you about Sam and Nia. They started out, they've been on YouTube, I'm going to say probably about 8 years too, something like that. They started out by they wanted to become YouTube famous. They purposely set out, they did a YouTube, I don't think it was originally on YouTube, but they did a lip sync to some song, and they were great at it. It became viral, and then they started a YouTube channel. Now, in the beginning, they were kind of shy, and they're not like they are now. And they only had at the time, I think, 2 kids instead of 3, and their kids were really, really young. But then trouble started happening. Sam, by the way, before I say this, I want to say that both of them, I think they've changed tremendously. Sam has become very humble. Also, they are Christians, all right? Mm-hmm. So the reason that they got called out so much is because they were Christians. So they started doing stupid things like their dog. They got this dog, and people were writing on their comment section, "Your dog is skin and bones." And they left the dog outside. The dog ran away a few times. They were being called irresponsible dog owners. So they got called out for that. Then what happened was Sam of Sam and Nia got caught on Ashley Madison. Remember when Ashley Madison got hacked and they revealed all the names? Well, he was a member on there, so he had to reveal it. He had to reveal to his wife that I'm on there. I was looking. I was looking to see. So that
I don't think people use fake names when they go on sites like that.
I don't know.
Sorry. Do they need help? Can we help them? I feel bad for these poor schmoes that are getting totally caught. Because they're dumb. These stupid boys. God bless you. All right.
So we had to reveal it, and it got out. It got out everywhere on YouTube. All right. So that was the first thing.
Well, yeah. Of course that's going to get out. That's huge.
Yeah. So people, put it out all over the place. Then after that, People wanted to know why Nia would stay with him after finding out that he was seeking out to cheat, and he might have already cheated because he was on the site.
Mhm.
And because she is a Christian, she really went through it, and she said, "I've known him since I'm 15, and I'm going to try to make it work," and they were going to try to make it work. So okay, so they got past that, and then the next big thing comes along for them. So he decides, because he was really into pranks and doing all kinds of outrageous things to get more kids, I think, to watch. So the next thing that he did was he said, "I'm going to." He made up this whole story that when Nia goes to sleep at night, she pees in the toilet and doesn't flush it because she doesn't want to wake up the kids. All right, so I thought that was a little weird. Anyway, he goes in with a pregnancy test because apparently she said she wasn't feeling well. So he gets a test and it's positive. Lo and behold, it's positive, and he surprises her. All right.
Wow. Okay.
So everybody thought, wait a minute, that sounds a little bit weird to me. So you took pee out of toilet water that's been sitting there all night, and it's a positive test. So people didn't believe that, and
Yeah.
then the next thing that happened, she had a miscarriage.
Oh.
So people again said, "This is all set up. We don't believe that she was even pregnant," and they got even more attention brought to them.
Wow.
Then after that, when they started getting invited to the blogger fair and things like that, there was another family blogger that had kind of weighed in on the whole nonsense with Sam and Nia, because they have a channel and they're family bloggers. Katie and Cullen, that's another family blogger that I watched, and they went to the blogger fair, and Sam has a really bad temper. So what does he do? At blogger fair, he goes up to Cullen and wants to start a fight right in blogger
Wow.
fair. Like, why'd you talk about me, man? That kind of thing. And he started getting aggressive. Guess what happened? They got thrown out of blogger fair,
Mhm.
and he's vlogging it, and you could see Nia walking behind him, and she is pissed as hell. She's not even talking because, I mean, I don't know. Is it scripted drama? For them, I don't know if it was scripted, but I have a feeling with Sam, because he really was hot headed at that time and he was doing crazy things. I don't think that part was scripted, but it really went off the Richter scale. And
Mhm.
then they kind of decided, I guess, they pulled back and they started acting normal. And instead of trying to, reach for the highest views, they just did their normal vlogging. And now today, I see them as just a normal couple vlogging their life. They're not doing anything crazy. They're not lying. They're not cheating. They're staying on the straight and narrow. But
I
that
was
was a
gonna,
big
because
thing.
okay, so I was gonna ask you, are there any family bloggers out there that are not crazy? Like, I mean, is it, or does it basically you need a big wild shit show in order for it to get any views?
No, no. I watch. I don't know if anybody here knows It's Judy's Life. I've been watching her since she gave birth to her first child, and she's having her fourth any day. They, to me, do not exploit their children. They are normal. They seem normal to me. Although, remember, this is their living. So when she started out, she just started out doing little 10-minute tutorials on makeup. And then they just blew up, and she has a mommy channel as well. And he does his own thing. He teaches people how to, become, become able to make YouTube your career. So I think they're pretty normal. I think there are normal family bloggers out there, but then you go to the other extreme and you have the people like Sam and Nia, who started out crazy. And of course
Well,
now,
you dig into families like the Stoffers. I'm not sure if you guys have talked about them yet, but where you've got a family who's testing every algorithm until something hits, and then you've got to say, like, because look, once you put all your eggs in YouTube's basket, like all your money comes from that, you just got to be like, unfortunately, that's all you have. And then how hard it would be to go back to the real world after YouTube. I can't even imagine being like making that much money, and then
right,
what education do you have? What experience do you have? Oh, I was a YouTuber. Oh, okay, come work. Like, it doesn't do anything for you. YouTube is a blessing and a curse, because you can make a lot of money, but it's not going to last forever. There's a lot of people out there have had longevity, but eventually something gives and the thing shifts. Then what are you going to do? It's super important, especially as family, to make sure that if you're going to do this, do it right, so you can have longevity, and just like do right by your kids, so that in the end they don't end up hating you and starting their own channels saying, you know, I hated this, or coming out with an article or something later saying this was the worst time of my life, and then making you look way worse down the road.
Right. Do you remember the Shaytards? Did you ever hear of them?
Yep.
Okay, so the Shaytards were kind of like the first real family blogger, and they also, I think, are Mormons, and they made a lot of money, and they vlogged every single day of the week. And then here's the thing: they were ready to actually take a break, you know, because they've been on for so many years. And then some news broke that he was fooling around,
Yep.
right? He was fooling around, and he also is an alcoholic. So that part came out. So now they're on break. You know, I think they're still on break. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was pretty embarrassing for his wife that all that came out onto YouTube. But you're right. If you have a career before you become a YouTube and you hit it famous, like Sam, he's a nurse, right? So if he lost his channel tomorrow, they wouldn't be able to live the lifestyle they're living, but he could go back to work. You know.
Well, here's a scary issue about what you're talking about right now, and I sort of touched on this in a different video. I have been married for 13 years, almost 13 years. Okay. And like, I know what it's like to be married, and there's major issues. But if you're putting out this view of perfection every single day, and you cannot put out the view of like issues, and like you can't air them out and do proper things in your marriage. I guarantee you, a lot of these people live loveless marriages, but they do it for the views. Like these Shaytards and everybody else who's got husbands that cheat on them or do something dirty, like this guy in Britain who was hitting on a 16-year-old girl. His wife is standing up for him, even though it's proven that he did it, because this is how they make their money. And so what they probably do is come to an agreement off camera that says, look, we're done as a married couple, but we have to continue this to make money because this is how we make money. So let's, at some point, that is the most detrimental thing you can do for your child is live in this fake world of parenting where you put it on camera and then live a completely separate thing later. What are you teaching your kids? That the dollar is more important than anything else, and that the things that really matter don't matter. And so the scariest part is how many of these families are living completely terrible marriages in the back end, or cheating on their spouse, or doing whatever they want, and they're just doing it for views. They're saying, look, this is their career. That is the reason why people are passionate about this type of subject, about when people fall down. It's not because they want to see people hurt or fall apart or get canceled. It's because people hate hypocrites. That's the biggest issue here. Nobody likes somebody who's a liar.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And some of them have, like I said, Sam and Nia, they were actually able to come back after all that. And they're pretty much on the straight and narrow now. But yeah, I don't know. I just always had a bad feeling about family bloggers, as much as I enjoyed watching them. Now, Katie and Cullen, do you know who Katie and Cullen are?
No.
Okay, the other ones that had to fight with, of course, with Sam. But they're going through a thing now where they're sharing their life. You know, they bought a new house, big, giant, beautiful house, and you know, because they were making money. And then all of a sudden, they found themselves in mega debt, like mega debt. So first it was he was having a problem with, I think it was an addiction. I'm not sure what the addiction was. I can't remember now, but they decided to bring that out and share it with their audience. So that was the first thing. And so they were having problems. They were definitely having marriage problems. After they got through that, and then they realized they're in all of this debt because they bought this big giant house, and there's only 4 of them. And they spent a fortune on furniture. To live a lifestyle that they really weren't earning enough money for. They decided to take it all public and tell people, okay, we're in debt for this much, and we're going to try to work this out, and we're going to do it with you. We're going to tell you how we do it. So that's what their whole channel is about right now, is about how they got out of debt and how much they spent in 2017 as compared to what they're spending now on food. And they're trying
that's a channel people should be watching. There should be, if you're going to do a family vlog,
yeah,
do a family vlog from the real. Don't be like, here's what I eat in a day. No one cares what you eat in a day. Well, they do. But in the end, how about this? Hey, we've got ourselves in this position because we leased a car. Now we got 90,000 in debt. Here's what we're going to do a year challenge of like lean spending, money fasting, and see what happens there. People would benefit from that, and you'd get views. Instead, they put up the shallow stuff where they put everything on the internet for content because they don't really want to do the hard stuff. That's the issue. People want to once it becomes easy and you make money, why would you want to make it harder for yourself?
Right. And that's what they were doing. I mean, they redid their whole bathroom. It was gorgeous. And then all of a sudden they said, you know what, we can't afford this house. So they put that house on the market. But then the pandemic happened and no
Yep.
people were buying, and they had to stay in the house. But they really realized, oh, we have to cut back. We
Mhm.
have to cut back on food, everything. But they don't really bring their children into it now as much. You know, their children were part of it, but now it's mostly about how do we get out of this debt and, teach everybody else what to do. So
Yeah.
their channel is kind of interesting to watch if you're in debt and anyone wants to know how to get out of it. But like I said, there are so many family vloggers, some that I've never watched before. There was the other ones, the Daily Bumps, I think. And here's the funny part about family vloggers: they all get to be friends. Like if they live in the same area, they all become friends, and then they all end up meeting for vacations. And of course, they're all extravagant vacations that they're going on together.
Yep.
They're renting these beautiful beach houses and all this. It all looks really lovely, but you're right. If it was taken away, like Katie and Colin, they can't do that anymore. They can't go to those vacations. They can't do it anymore.
Just as a parent, if you're gonna capitalize on YouTube, cool, do it, and I'm all for it. Go for it. If you found something that people have tapped into, absolutely. But like, have a plan. Don't just like spend because it's coming in. You're not teaching your kids anything about that either. If you're bringing if you're bringing a ton of money in, like 8 passengers, I don't think they're extravagant spenders. They have a decent house for what they have. They have a ton of money. They could probably be fine with just his salary. So all the extra money they bring in, who knows what they're doing with it? But if you're just hoarding it, not giving it to your kids who are making you the money, I have an issue with that. But we don't know in the end.
But I
Maybe
remember,
she's got. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was cutting you off, but I remember with Daddy of Five, one of the things that they used to do though was like hold up the PlayStation and be like, "Look, this came from doing these vlogs. If you guys can't act right on these vlogs, no more PlayStation, no more trips to Magic Mountain, no more whatever, whatever they said." And I hate to think that this family might be doing the same to their kids. So they're feeling this pressure, not only externally, but internally without the cameras on of, dang, this is our parents' livelihood. And if we don't act a certain way, then, that pressure on kids, it's not healthy.
They can exactly. You're putting a ton of pressure on kids already. Already, it seems like she puts a ton of pressure on her kids anyway. Because if you're making a 5-year-old make their lunch and have that much expectations on them, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with putting expectations on your children. But let's put realistic expectations.
She talked about natural consequences, natural and logical consequences, which I actually subscribe to that theory that you should be giving your kids natural and logical consequences. And yes, the natural and logical consequence for a person forgetting their lunch is that they would go hungry. But you have to be mindful of the fact that we're talking about a 5-year-old, a person who has walked the earth for 5 small years.
Yeah.
This is not a grown adult capable of caring for themselves and making responsible decisions all the time. That's why you're the mom. You're the parent. Somebody there needs to be taking care of these kids. And so, so this whole natural and logical consequences, how about the natural and logical consequence of making your child responsible for packing their lunch at 5 is that sometimes you're going to have to bring their lunch to school because they're going to forget. So
sometimes you're going to have to be called out on it when you become a D-bag about it.
So that's right. So there's the natural and logical consequence of that, Mom. When you make that your child's responsibility, then sometimes you're going to have to bring their lunch to school because they're going to forget.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need to be okay with that.
Exactly.
And the fact that she didn't think for 1 second, because I certainly was, at lunchtime, everybody's pulling out their lunch and she has no lunch and she just has to sit there and not eat. I felt so sad for that little girl. I felt so sad.
That in and of itself is going to get a call to CPS if that teacher wants to, because that is a teacher. A teacher's a mandated reporter. You can't just not feed your children. That's not legal.
Well, here's an issue too. If they're going to a Mormon school and these people are Mormon influencers in this community, this teacher probably has a relationship and knows that these people are famous and doesn't want to get called out. But you're right. This teacher has a responsibility, and hopefully she's watching these types of things to say, I would be like, look, I get what you're trying to do here. Don't let it happen again. Or I am reporting next time. Like, you got to be like, lay the law down. This is a 5-year-old girl. Feed your child. I don't care if they forget their lunch every single day of the week. Feed your child.
Exactly. The consequence of that shouldn't be, I mean, if you really have to have a consequence, then you talk about more responsibilities or whatever, but you don't talk about making your child go hungry as a punishment. That's not a normal punishment.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was in shock when I was watching it. I was like, no. And here's another thing they did. this was never brought to anyone's attention on YouTube, but I kind of was a little shocked at it. So it's their first day of school, right? It was probably last year or the year before. Their first year of school. They just got that big giant 8-passenger bus, right? That big van that they got, and they're all dressed for school. And she's taking pictures. They're on their way, and there was an accident. Now, remember, she wasn't in the accident. There was 2 cars that were involved in an accident ahead of her. So she pulled off to the side of the road. I think one of them blew the tire. Now, what she did was she had to get all involved because she figured, okay, here we go. This is great for my YouTube channel. Content, right? So she runs, she jumps out of the car. She runs with the camera. She's running, and you can see her face, and she's running to see if everybody's okay. Are you okay? Are you okay? When there was plenty of other people there. Meanwhile, she's got her little 5-year-old, 4-year-old sitting in the car, and guess what? She's crying. Her son is crying. And then what she does is calls a friend to come and pick her up. She tells her kids to walk up the road, right? Walk up the road, tells a friend to come and pick them up and take them to school instead of her taking her kids to the first day of school.
Yeah, and that's none of her business what's going on over there, and she can't help, especially she's got a camera in everybody's face. Like that, to me, right there, if you like, in the end, if you get home from a day like that and say, I got some content to put up, but later, if you don't kind of feel bad about that, there's an issue. If you cannot take a step back from this whole perspective and say, I've done some pretty gross things, I should probably figure this out, instead of just deleting them and then just moving on with your life, it's only going to get worse from there. It's not going to get better ever if you're not willing to learn.
Avoiding this and hiding it, pretending it didn't happen is probably not going to help her very much, because people have these videos already, and that they've already got, that calls are already going in.
The internet is forever. The internet is forever. These kids are on the internet forever. The Stoffers, the big issue with them rehoming is that and a lot of the family vloggers that adopt do this, and I'm not saying they're all wrong. I'm just saying this. Like, I've got 2 adopted kids. I'm not like, I just said that, but you put it out there. They're comfortable with me talking about it. But some adopted kids don't want the world to know they're adopted. Okay, that should be their choice to say, I'd rather not just be known as the adopted kid all the time. Okay, but you don't give those kids an opportunity when you make them famous on YouTube and on the internet forever. When you adopt, I think there needs to be at least first legislation against it. I know you can't put foster kids on video and camera, which is good. Adoption should be the same until they are of age to consent.
Well, especially in that situation with that, that whole thing to me was crazy. I never knew about her until all this happened, of course, with, rehoming him. And I watched that video, that really cringy video where she is sitting there with her husband, and she's putting on the crocodile tears and the tears and the tears. And she's saying things that don't make sense to me. So there were medical issues that you didn't know about before you adopted him. That's what they were kind of saying, right?
No, but they wanted that initially. She made a video saying they were looking specifically for that, a child with autism or some kind of low-level issue, so that they could exploit it but not have a hard time. What ended up being it was too hard in the end. So I'm not sure this is true. The doctor would ever say, you need to put him in a different house. Right. And the one thing that pissed me off the most of that whole situation is her sitting on the beach with a $6,000 Cartier bracelet on her wrist saying, the therapy is expensive and I'm not paying someone $500 when I can pay someone $50. And that's what we're going to do. And she's all smug about it. And then like they're rocking a new $600,000 house off the millions they made off this kid because they had 4,000 likes or 4,000 subs. H came into the picture and they jumped to 400,000 because of this whole situation. And they use this. The thing that pissed me off about this is I know that adoptions don't always take. This happens, and it's people are human. I get it. I'm not saying that there's an issue with that. The issue is that you exploited him first, made all the money, kept it up until you literally were forced to make a statement. The same day, James Stoffer goes to register his new cleaning company for his Stoffer Garage channel. The same day, he goes and does an LLC to protect himself. And it's just everything is coming to light now that they did all this, and then they rehomed him, which means it's low-level child trafficking. So you could adopt a kid from there and then literally give it to whoever you please. That's but you do have to go through processes for sure. But the thing that's so infuriating about all of this is that they rehome this kid, then they go to Bali for like 2 weeks on $1,000 a night rental vacation without this kid. And If you're so broken up about this big issue, why would you go celebrate in Bali? It's insane that you like, there's too much here. There's too much that went on. It got too hard for them and they didn't expect it and they just gave up. And this now kid has to go through all the trauma again of being adopted, put into he came to this place where they loved him, where he trusted them, and now he has to go to another place and start all over again. And he he doesn't talk, and so he has to sign when he wants food and stuff, and they duct taped his thumb because they didn't want it stuck in his thumb. Like, there's so much wrong with this, and it's only going to get worse for them. Only going to get worse.
Oh my God.
And wasn't there was a situation where she was talking about how annoyed she was because he does have a problem with eating. He wants like more and more food, and the husband said that they were like annoyed that he was staring at him while he was eating.
Yeah.
But he has problems. I don't even understand why you would bring that out. That you're annoyed.
Man.
It's making me cringe that the kids keep staring at me while I'm eating.
Yeah. They had an issue with this kid. He was a problem child, and they were just getting, it was not fitting their veneer that they needed to put forward. So every time she was trying to make a vlog, he was upset, and she'd put him on the stairs and she'd say things like, "Are you over yourself?" Yeah. This kid has autism and he's got major issues with communication. And she's like, "Are you over yourself?" He's 4, crying in a closet. Wow. "Are you over yourself? Are you over yourself?" This woman.
That is heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh.
Where is he now? Does anyone have an update on where he's at?
I reached out to the sheriff's department or something there in Ohio, and they said it looks like everything's kind of like good. Like, he's in a place. They didn't say he's rehomed yet, but they're doing what they're supposed to do to get him to, like, he's not like gone to the wind or anything like that. He had to go to foster care first, obviously, to be put into the system. Why they went to Bali, by the way, and then no one knows yet, and they won't tell anybody. Their lawyers are just saying, keep your mouth shut, don't say a word. They're speaking through their lawyers only. So if you could stand on your morals and values, and you thought you were right about it, then speak to people. As soon as James launched that new video on Stauffer's Garage, they deleted their explanation video about H on their channel the day of.
They did delete it.
Yeah, because he was launching the new channel. He had to get rid of the negative stuff.
It was so sad for me to see that, because I did see, videos of when all before this happened, and she's showing how she's decorating his room and she wants to do this and that, and then boom, all of a sudden all this comes out, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I felt so bad for that little kid. I really, really felt bad for him. I said, that is so heartbreaking. The
more I think about it, the more my blood boils, and I talked about this a lot, and a lot of people are like, well, you keep talking about it, but I'm like, I don't want people to forget this, because, like, look, in the end, if we could figure out a way to talk about this and do it so that it doesn't happen again. Okay. So don't exploit your kids for YouTube views, because they got that algorithm right and it made them wealthy. Okay. Wealthy. And so they had a responsibility to maybe take all that money and pour as much therapy as you can into this kid, because he was getting better and she would admit it. But in the end, like, they just spent it all, and they bought a brand new house, probably full out. And they were probably like, look, we can't afford all this stuff again while we're rocking this expensive jewelry and going on shopping hauls. And they would put him to bed early so they could hang out with their bio kids, because he needed special attention during the day. So they'd literally segregate him while they had time with their other kids. And to me, like, those kids are seeing that's going to have huge ramifications down the line for their bio kids who brought this kid in. Now the whole world's talking about it, and it's forever that your mom did this no matter what. And those kids are going to have repercussions because of their parents' choices.
So do you think that they've lost, I mean, I haven't, I don't go and check on Social Blade and things like that, but do you think they've lost subscribers over this?
She has, for sure. She's lost every major sponsor on her channel, FabFit, with the actress. Yeah, lost everything. Now James's channel, Stauffer Garage, it went up in counts. She also went on Instagram and bought followers, so it didn't look like she was losing followers. But if you see, look at this. If you don't increase fast, it means that you're losing. Okay, so especially for 900,000, he went up in views because nobody on his channel understood. They didn't connect the dots between him and the Stauffer issue. Now it's starting to come to light. I had a company reach out to me today who said people are reaching out to all his sponsors and his affiliates on his channel now, and he's losing all of it. So eventually, all their side revenue is going to be gone. And if you can get enough people on board, YouTube can just say, "Look, we don't want you on our platform because it's a negative thing." You need to get out to the world and just get off YouTube for a while. Even if it's for a while, go get therapy, come back, changed. But if you're unwilling to answer for what you've done, then you should not be able to use this platform to make money, especially off this kid.
Oh boy. It's the whole thing is sad to me about, and that's why I really wanted to talk about family YouTubers, because I've been holding back on this and thinking about this for so long. And it was just so strange that this whole thing came out the way it did about 8 passengers, because I've always been concerned about those kids. Not that I felt in particular that anyone was being abused. I just
Mhm.
felt like, the other thing that bothered me was a lot of them they would make a post office box, and these kids were getting tons and tons of gifts. And
Mhm.
they were from the time they were 2 years old, just ripping boxes open with things. And I said, what if this all stops?
Yep.
What if they don't get all these things? This is the only thing they know. I'm
Yep.
getting presents. I'm getting presents. I'm getting free things.
Yep.
So it looked bad to me. The whole setup looked bad to me. I think a
Yeah.
lot of
Yep.
channels have cut back on that, putting their post office box out. But for a
Mhm.
while, that's all I was seeing is gifts, gifts, gifts. And I said,
That's
these kids are
crazy.
never
Like, I
gonna
understand, like, if you want to use YouTube as a platform to make money and you can do that kind of stuff, go for it. It's just the exploitation of children. Like, I can't.
Right. It shouldn't be
It's hard.
money at all costs. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be. If you want to make
No.
money on the platform, go right ahead. I mean, that's why it's here. Go
Yep.
right ahead and do that, and share your family if your family
Yep.
has adventures or whatever. But find the line. For
Yeah.
God's sake, find the
Exactly.
line, find the balance, protect your children, keep them first in all of this, and then you can't, you won't go wrong. But
And
this whole, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and here's what we're not talking about. How many predators are targeting these
Yes.
kids? Like, how many, and predators will go a far distance to do what they want. They are obsessing over these children, because they're famous kids, and they get to see them in everyday life, shaving their legs, going through their periods. There's creepy, gross predators out there who might even be living in their community, who might just be targeting these kids. Do you
Right.
really want even if they don't, do you really want predators staring at your kids, like,
No.
on YouTube in the bathtub shaving their legs?
Right.
You need to be a special kind of dumb to not realize that there's guys out there and creepy people just watching your kids. I'm not having that. That's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah, the thing I remember
Agreed.
when Ruby said that someone called her out a long time ago because she brought her little one to Walmart without shoes on, and somebody called her a bad mother. Why would you bring your kid to Walmart anyway without shoes on?
Well, it supposedly wasn't just no shoes. It was no shirt. It was no
and
pants.
a diaper.
She was only in a diaper, barefoot at Walmart in a diaper. And
Wow.
she's wondering why people are judging that. Of course they're going to judge that. Like, what, are you new? This is like your 17th kid. How can you not know what happens? Like,
It's
what?
like, do you see that meme where it's like the first kid's bedroom is like Disney princess,
Oh
and the
my
second kid's
God.
bedroom is like a piece of foam on the floor?
Well, like, literally with this family, for real.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
how do you not know that that's, of course, people are going to judge you. Of course, even if you
Yeah.
weren't on YouTube, people would judge
Yeah.
you for that.
I know,
absolutely judge
exactly.
people like
And
that.
I almost died when she said that. I was like, are you kidding? Ruby, are you really kidding? Are you really saying that? The one thing that I do worry about with Sam and E is they have a little girl that she just turned 4. They let her walk around with no shirt on, and I don't
No,
like that. She's a little
don't
girl.
do that. Don't do it.
Don't
No.
do that. Even if,
Yeah.
just because she's 4 doesn't mean anything. There are crazy, pedophiles out there that are attracted to that, and
Yep.
that bothers me. I want to write to them and say, put a shirt on her.
It's going to take one kid on a YouTube family vlog to get kidnapped and killed, and before any of this has to really change. And that's the saddest, grossest thing that you can think
That's
about.
so
But man,
sad.
it's
It's
these people will go to huge lengths, like serial killers. Like, I know that's really, really dark to talk about, but if you don't talk about it and you aren't aware of it, this happens. I've seen, like, just listen to the Sword and Scale podcast if you get the guts to do it. There's some really crazy people out there willing to go major lengths to do what they want.
Well, let me tell you this. In our little community, a couple of years back, we had a man that it turned out, because he was a very friendly man. He was coming to everybody's live streams and chats and talking to different people. He seemed like the perfect guy, right? And he started talking to women individually, but then we found out that he would talk to this woman and say, don't talk to this woman because she's no good, and blah, 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 blah. And they were all women with children, right?
Okay.
So it got a little extremes that he wanted to meet one particular woman who had a teenage son, and he would say things so like, well, is he exercising? Is he working out? Send me a picture. I want to see how his form is.
Mhm.
It turns out that them all getting together, yes, Captain Buford was his name.
Okay.
And it turned out that he was a registered sex offender.
Oh, geez.
And
That's
he
it.
was outed. The community outed him. I don't know. He could still be here under another name, but he was outed. He was starting to get really creepy and too close to women. So
Yep.
it can happen in a little community, and you've got all these family vloggers doing this stuff, putting their daughters out there.
Well, where do you think the predators are going to go? They're not coming here.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
where do you think they're going to go? Of course, they're going to go look at little kids.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what they want to see. They're not going to come here in our chat.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
I'm just
like,
that's why
think about
YouTube
it.
shuts down comments. But if you think about that, YouTube did that to be like, oh, we're protecting kids. How does shutting down comments protect kids?
It
Predators aren't in there making comments and outing themselves as predators. They're watching. They're looking for where they live. They're trying to dox them or find out where they are. They're just being creepy. Not shutting down comments does nothing. It does nothing in the end
No,
to protect these kids.
And they put
no,
their
because
real
they're
names
not.
out.
They're not in the comment section announcing themselves. For goodness sake,
Exactly.
they're sneaky.
Exactly.
They're
Yep.
being sneaky. That's. And people say, you know, people don't like it when you try to give them advice like this because you're just a hater and you're
Yeah.
jealous or whatever, you know, the reasons are. No,
Yeah.
it's that we care about innocent children. That's really
Yeah.
all it comes down to. No one's saying you can't have a channel. Please, by all means, make all the money you can off your channel, but stop hurting your children. Stop it. Put
Yep.
them first, for God's
Yep.
sake.
The thing is, they put their real names out there too. Their real legal names out there, where
Yep.
their locations, where they are.
Yep.
So dangerous.
Dangerous.
So then you're absolutely right. These are the people that are going to show up on the street and pick them up off the street. They're not going to come find them on YouTube, and you know what I mean? Because they're
Yep.
sneaky about it. So they're
Exactly.
probably looking for where, you know, where they live. And if they live in that same area, it's not going to be hard to find out where they go to school. It's not, you know, it's all dangerous.
Yep.
I don't understand why people aren't more knowledgeable about, you know, and instead of thinking that everything is a hater coming to you, why don't you just listen to what somebody has to say and realize that there might be some good advice there?
Until it's too late. That's what's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and they're going to be like, it sucks because the issue is something will happen, or they'll go to school, high school, and he'll get in a fight with somebody because they don't like him, and they get unwanted attention and wanted attention. But in the end, there's going to be a lot of people out there who just don't like them, and these kids are going to have to go through all this in college, university. As they grow up, everybody's going to know every aspect of their life, their whole life. If you can, again, you can delete all the videos you want on YouTube. You can just find it anywhere else because, again, the internet's forever. People archive these videos and put them on other sites.
Oh,
So
yeah, just
Definitely.
Google them. All you have to do is Google these people, and they all pop up. Everything pops up.
Yep.
Does anyone in the chat have any questions? Because I'm just catching up now. I was watching on.
There's a lot of people that, you know, they know these people. They've seen some of these stories before. They're all just as shocked and upset about it. What can we do? Is there anything that we can do? I guess, you know, because that's not exactly our demographic. Like, we're not family bloggers, so we're not in that community. I don't know that anyone will care what we have to think. I'm sure that they're getting all kinds of unsolicited advice that they don't want anyway.
No,
Is there
it's not
anything
about
we-
approaching them. You have to approach a legislator to create a law.
That's what I was going to ask you.
You
Is
have
there
to approach a
legislation already
legislator. You
going?
have to. You got to lobby a legislator who is pro your stance on this and put it out to the public and start the conversation about it. Until at one point they have to create a legislation for it. It says, look, you cannot put your kids out on YouTube or these platforms specifically. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking a picture of your kids, put on Facebook and blah blah blah. But there has to be a line in the same where it says, look, if you monetize, you can't monetize it. So YouTube just has to say, look, you can have as many Flamey vlogs as you want. You can get side sponsors, but you're not allowed to monetize kids on our channel anymore. Because look at the biggest YouTuber, and one of the biggest YouTubers in the world is that kid that plays with toys. That kid makes something like $26 million a year. You think that goes in his pocket?
Wow.
So it just stop monetizing children, and you'll see this will stop.
Well, what do we say? What do we say then to those families that try to say things like, well, you know, who are you to tell me how to raise my kid? Who are you to tell me what I can and can't do with my family? You know, what can we say to them to help them understand how important this is? And it's not us trying to take over how you're parenting. It's just trying to keep kids safe. It really, truly is about that.
Go watch your own videos. Have you ever watched yourself react to your kids and do all these things? Go watch them yourself, and don't wait till it's too late to change the things you need to change. Because there are people doing it right. Just go back and watch it. Change. And the thing is, they keep up these videos that make them residual income. Okay, so they don't want to take down the bad videos because they make them good money. So what you do is just like, look, don't wait till it's too late. So your kids hate you until something bad happens because there's predators out there. Just think about the big picture, not this picture here where you're going to go buy a house and then that's what you get. Would you rather have a nice house or would you rather have your kids love you for the rest of your life? That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather have my kids and a great relationship with my kids over any amount of money I could ever make. I don't want, if it's at a cost of my kids being unhappy or hating me because all I did was use them for content, and they'll see that later. They will see that. It'll come to light. I'd rather have a really good relationship with my children.
When
Yeah,
when
I
the
would
new
too.
laws went into effect on YouTube for the protection of children, isn't there some? Aren't they restricted in some manner if they check off that this is for kids? How are the family bloggers working around that? I know some of them have managers, of course. They pay managers to help them with that. So how are they working around all of that? Still using their children in their family vlogs, but not actually making it a video about children. Like how
Because
are they?
they're clicking it. This isn't for kids. They're clicking that little thing that says not for kids.
But then they're not telling
Because
the truth,
YouTube runs on a lot of AI and algorithms, so they
right?
don't have humans looking at it until there's a major amount of complaints. Then they make it change. So what you do is you click that, and they're trusting that your channel, which is trusted and monetized, that you're being truthful about it. But Micah Stauffer specifically, her channel isn't a family channel; it's her channel. But her kids end up, because they took down their Stauffer family channel that had a lot of views too. They took it right down, so they just canceled that. But her channel was about her, and so that's how she got away with it.
Hmm.
Wow. See, again, all kinds of stuff that needs to be regulated. I mean, it's
Yep.
because there's all these loopholes that
Because I know that some of the family bloggers were really concerned about that, and they were like reaching out to the managers, even doing it live, and saying, "So, what do I do?" Because technically, if you check off it's for kids, you're not going to get that money.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So they had to finagle their way around so they can still earn a living. So I'm sure their managers were advising them on how to do it.
Yep. Oh yeah, they got their MCNs or whatever they're called, getting in there and lawyers and stuff. Like I'm sure you two got major pushback for doing that. And could you imagine the pushback they're going to get when they say, "Look, you're not allowed to monetize your channel with children on it anymore." You know what's going to happen? There's millions of dollars in these family channels, and they're going to lobby and say, "No, not fair. My choice to make." And if you think about free speech and everything, I'm Canadian, so it's different for me. But free speech in Canada is bigger in this level, and the government just doesn't want to say, like, do what you got to do. But at some level, if you don't legislate it, then it's just going to get worse, because sometimes you just have to say, "Look, this is best for the kids. Sorry." And then just be unapologetic about it. In the end, it's the right thing to do.
Well, all I could say is for Ruby, please, please pack your 5-year-old's lunch. Don't make her starve.
Yeah.
And be embarrassed, or sit there and watch your little friends eating and wonder why is my mommy not making sure that I have food? I don't care
Yeah.
what she tells her. Intellectually, she's she's not an adult. She doesn't
Yep.
understand.
Yep.
but the problem is that kids, especially kids that age, have a really great ability to make everything their fault.
Yep.
And so whatever, no matter, even though logically we can see that that's not her fault, I'm sure that the internal dialogue that she had with herself was that it was all her fault. I should have.
Because Ruby is saying it's your fault. She's
Yeah.
like, these are the natural consequences of what you did. And then if you look later, she's like, oh, here she comes home she must be so hungry. I have a snack for you.
Yeah.
She did
Saw
do
that.
that. Oh my God.
Oh man, you need to fall down a well somewhere.
Oh, gee.
Well, because she's very consumed right now with a new house and getting
Mhm.
all the work done. Because in the other house, they had a lot of work done before they got rid of that house and decided to buy a bigger one. A lot of money went into that house. I could not believe it. And now she has to do it all over again. So
I'll be right back, Diane. I'll be right back.
she's really consumed with that home right now. But doesn't have a problem taking her kid's bed away for 7 months.
No, with all the privilege that they have and the wealth that they have, even aside from YouTube, even though to take away the exploitation of the kids and the wealth that they have from that, he makes good money. They do all that, and she still makes her kids pay for their chores and pay for their clothes and do everything else. There's so much privilege there, and to not maybe so maybe that's a parenting thing where they want their kids to earn everything they get. But if you think about her, she's not earning everything she gets. She's just exploiting for everything she gets. And that's, if these kids are only used to that, they're going to expect that for the rest of their life. So people that they come in contact with, they're going to say, like, I've got everything handed to me on a silver platter from the internet. When that's gone, what are you left with?
Yeah. The other thing that I think about is, imagine waking up in a home every day, no matter what you're doing, your mother or whoever it is picks up that camera, turns it on, and you don't want to be on camera. I mean, I would die if every, a minute my mother turned on the camera. I mean, I didn't even want her talking about me to my aunts and relatives, about my private stuff. But imagine there's a camera in your face, even if you're not feeling good. And she does that when her kids are sick. They could be
Yeah.
puking on and lying on the
Oh.
bathroom floor.
The worst.
And
Her
she
number
loves
one video is her daughter sick. Is she sick? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's sick, and you're just filming it. Like, put the camera down and be a real mom. Like,
Yeah.
the camera makes you a worse mom. Put it down and start focusing on your kids, because they will see that in the end. They're going to see later on that the camera overtook everything else. The camera was the number one thing that was in my face, not your love and your protection and your hands and your arms and your help. The camera was the thing in my face, not you. They're going to see that. And she doesn't think that, kids are smart and they're very perceptive. And as they get older, they're going to say, the number one thing in my face all the time was that camera and you making money on it. And you were looking in the camera at me through the camera. So
Yeah.
she would look at the screen, and she looks at her kids through the screen. She doesn't look at her kids in the eyes.
No, but she'll tell them, look at me. But what she's really saying is, look at the camera.
Exactly.
It's so sad. It really
Mhm.
is so sad. I don't even know
Yeah.
what to say about it. But like I said, I saw you and I liked your perspective from
Appreciate that.
that. Excuse me. And also your son came on. I got a
Tyson.
kick out of him because you were asking him, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And because he wasn't really up, he doesn't watch them. So he was just looking at one video. So it was hard for him to answer, but I thought he did a pretty good job anyway.
Yeah, Tyson he's a good kid. He's had a lot of issues in his life with being not. Yeah, I didn't say issues, but he's introverted, and so but he's got a really good head on his shoulders. He understands and he thinks through things. Like, Tyson's a good kid. He's going to do good things in his life. So I had a podcast on our podcast. We had an episode called "I Hate My Teenager," where my podcast co-host and I sat down and we talked with the therapist about is it okay to hate your teenager sometimes? And it was a really good episode. Okay. And then Tyson and my podcast co-host's son are best friends. Okay. So the same age best friends. They came on the show next time and they talked about I hate my parents. And so we had this really great dialogue about when it's okay to, and these kids unleashed this great talk about what parents don't understand and what we don't want to see. And if you get a chance to go, I'm not just trying to prop up my channel, but if you're going to listen to anything, let's go listen to I Hate My Teenager and then the podcast that happens afterwards. If you want to talk about teenagers and how they think and what's going on in their life, it was really cool. And there's not enough podcasts or YouTube channels out there about teenagers talking about real issues. And I'm trying to encourage him to do that. So I think he's got a lot to say and he's really smart and his buddies are all smart. And they've got a lot of cool stuff to say. They just need the platform. So I'm glad he did it. A lot of people liked his shirt. His shirt was super ugly, but we'll agree to disagree.
Well, we are dropping your link in our side chat all night. And I also have your
Awesome.
link in my description. Yeah, please, everybody, go watch his channel and specifically what he pointed out. I do think that is an excellent idea because you know what? I wish sometimes when I was a teenager, that I could, say, listen, you need to know from my point of view. And
Yeah.
I wish that I had that opportunity to do it because, we all have little problems here and there
Yeah.
with our parents.
Yep.
It's natural. It's normal. Because our parents have, one set of, one way of thinking. And then we're like, well, wait a minute. Why don't you trust me? And why this and why that?
Mhm.
I wish that I could have done that. And that would have been great. So I think it would be definitely a big help for parents in here who have teenagers. So
Well, one big thing I've learned of doing podcasts, and so we do it because it's therapy for us. We don't do it for money because we don't make any money. But we came out from this whole thing, and it does speak to any parenting vlog or parent in general. We had Dr. Kirk Honda from Psychology in Seattle podcast, and he said, look, if you really want to have a great relationship with your child, develop a bond, which means, so basically the opposite of what Ruby does. There's no bond. Ruby rules from the point of like a ruler. She doesn't collaborate. She says, this is what's going down. If you don't
Right.
do my thing, you're going to lose everything.
Right.
And the bond isn't there. So what happens when you create a bond with your child from a young age, which means collaboration, which means conversation, which means honest conversation, when you create a strong bond, when you actually say something, they're going to listen. And when they do something wrong or whatever and go out of line, the bond is strengthened when you say, look, what'd you do here? Let's talk about that, instead of just blowing up, which I tend to do a lot, by the way, because I'm not perfect. But if your bond is strong and you start that from an early age, your kids will make better decisions based on what you've taught them. And they'll be more apt to listen to you because they trust you. If your
Right.
kids can't trust you because they feel like you're going to put the camera in their face every time, they're not going to be honest with you. They're going to struggle alone, and they're going to make bad choices and not tell you about it. And then eventually that's going to lead to deeper, darker things, depression, anxiety. And if you don't create a bond and try that bond thing, I promise you, you're going to have a harder time. But if you can create a deep bond with your kids, humor and just being their best friend sometimes, not always, but also being a parent when you need to, you will be very successful. And that was one thing over all this thing I took away, is creating a bond over everything. Bond over like even punishing them. Bond over everything.
Well, the whole punishment with Ruby about taking all their kids' electronics away. I mean, everything, even television. I don't know. It's nuts to me. I don't know what
Yeah.
she expects us
Oh.
to do, because this is the age of technology. I remember hearing you
Yeah.
say that there were a few times that you did take your son's, phone away or iPad, but for a whole summer.
Yeah, but you take it away for the weekend.
Right.
Yeah, like
Believe me, that will crush them. They will be
Yeah.
devastated.
Right. Exactly.
It's just it's
That's 6 months.
it's too much. And what happens is it doesn't actually help in the end. If she's
They don't even remember why
she
they're
obviously
single
she's
after
not
6 months.
and they're not, and again, he comes back from camp after and if you see that video, it's heartbreaking. The kid looks like he hasn't
Right.
eaten in he's heartbroken. He sees his parents and just breaks down and cries. That is heartbreaking. Okay. And they're like, we love you. We got a lot of views on this one. But if you
Yeah.
think about how heartbreaking that is,
That's
and nothing helped, because he came back and then got grounded for 7 months on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, so look, you can do, I'm learning this as a parent now. Going overboard, and I had a problem last night, and I'll be honest with you guys. My son was doing something pretty, like, he was my 7-year-old daughter, who's like the daughter of the family. There's 3 boys and her. She's the princess. Let's not be like, she's the jewel. Let's be real. But she gets special. She's special.
Yeah.
But when my 13-year-old was young, he was her. He wanted to be around his brother every second of the everywhere. He's so annoying because he loves him, and she wants to now hang out with him, and he's like, get away, and he's being rude.
Yeah.
And and we had a big argument about it. And I said, were you being rude in front of your friends to her? And I'm like, that's unacceptable. And then he's like, no, I wasn't. And then we had a big conversation to blow up. I sent him to bed. And then I rethought about it. I said, look, let's have a conversation about it. And in the end, we hugged it out, and there was tears. And like, again, the bond was strengthened because I took a step back instead of, I was initially angry. But if Ruby never takes a step back and sees what she's doing wrong ever, this is only going to exasperate, and just, it will leave deep wounds forever.
Yeah. And I feel like Kevin, her husband, is a little afraid of her.
He's a pushover.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm a little afraid of her too. I'm not gonna lie.
I would not fight Ruby.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. No, thank you. I had this experience with my kids when they were younger. It was my youngest one, not my oldest one, but my youngest one. He was always he still is very logical person, and always very rational, and always wanted to discuss everything to the nth degree. So you can imagine, sorry, excuse me. You can imagine as a toddler, there was no, I'm the mom, I said so. There was none of that. And he basically told me really early that doesn't work for him. Like he doesn't respond well to that. And I understand, because I don't respond well to that either. So I get it. And so, but that was a turning point in our relationship, really young too. He was like not even 3. And he was like, you can't say that. What do you mean you're the mommy? You say so. Like, what is that? Like, he really didn't get it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And that's an unfair thing for me to say. Mm-hmm. So there are some times that, yeah, these are the rules, but I will explain to you why we have them as rules. And from then on, like, I didn't have to deal with a lot with him behaviorally, because he just was a good kid, because he always understood why we have the rules that we have. And they were always for his safety, for his health, for his well-being. They were always for those reasons. And so, you couldn't argue with any of those, which was really nice. And, I try not to say no just for the sake of saying no. You don't have to be overbearing to your kids. You can have a good relationship and actually talk to them and have, real deep conversations, even when they're young.
Yeah,
you can do that. It can happen.
You'd be surprised at how like how smart they are when you're not
Very.
looking.
Yes, very.
Ladies,
Way
I
smarter
have
than
to
me.
get going. Like, this has been a long chat.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forgot
no.
that I had other things,
No,
but
I'm
this
so
has been
glad
awesome.
you came. Thank you for being here. Really, I
Yeah,
really
I'm so
appreciate it.
happy that you decided to accept my invitation. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a really important topic, and I'm gonna keep covering it. I'm gonna keep digging deeper, and if there's legislation to be made, it might be worth keep covering it and getting people on board to sign petitions and do things like maybe the petition needs to be not shutting down these channels, but the petition needs to be to a legislator to say YouTube stop letting people monetize children.
Right. Just
At a
some kind of
certain age.
regulation, if nothing else. Like it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but
Yeah,
maybe just some guidelines in place to keep these kids safer. That's all we can
and
ask
yeah,
for.
and put the money in their pockets if that's the case, like
That's
they do with
right.
child actors. You know what I mean? There's got to
It
be
is about
something.
consent. You're right.
Yeah.
That's such a good
Yep.
point that you made. I
Consent.
don't want to ever forget that you said that. That was such a
I
good
agree
point.
with you. And if you find out anything or anything's happening, definitely email me and let me know.
We'll do for sure.
But again, thank you so much for coming on. And
Well,
everybody,
lots of us is sub to you too. So we'll see you. We'll definitely be saying
yeah,
that on your channel. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
thank you for
I'm
doing
gonna do one of these live chats on my channel someday. So I'll invite you guys over. We'll talk about more of this type of
great.
stuff.
Oh, love to. Anytime.
Anytime.
Awesome.
Anytime.
All right,
Thank
ladies.
you so much. Thanks for being
Thanks,
here.
guys.
Again.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
What a nice guy.
He is nice. He's a
Super
really nice guy.
nice.
That's why when I watched him, I said, God, this guy is great. I was
No wonder you didn't want to act bad in front of company. Now I get it.
exactly. I did not want to act out in front of company.
We don't want him to know that we deal with all these all this bullshit around here.
No. Because when I watched him, especially with his son, I saw the relationship that he had with his teenage son, and I was just blown away. And I
He
said,
seems
to
like such a
myself,
good dad, and
yeah,
good man. Yeah.
definitely. And I really enjoyed his, his commentary on eight passengers. Listen, many YouTubers did it. I could have written to anyone.
Yeah.
But I just loved the way he covered it and how he gave his opinion. And he wasn't too harsh on them. I mean, some of the other channels were just downright nasty.
Yeah, no, I thought he was pretty fair in what he was saying. And, because ultimately people do have the right to raise their kids the way that they want. So I do get that argument, but you can't just ignore that there's regulations that need to be in place. Like these kids are not looking at a good future.
No,
they may have fame and money, but you never considered whether they wanted that or not. And now they're just going to be embarrassed. I don't know.
You like it if you woke up every day and your mother put a camera in your face.
No. And I saw her like several times. She's like, look at mom. And it wasn't look at mom. It's really look at the camera.
Exactly.
She's like, look at me. Like, like you do when you're talking to your kids and you say, look at me. I need you to look like this is important. I want my eyes to be seeing your eyes so that I can see if you're registering this or not. Yeah. But she'll say that to her kids when she's scolding them, look at mom. And really what she's meaning is look at the camera because it's all about the show. And that's sad.
It is sad. It's sad for a lot of them. And I don't know. Like I said, I hated when my mother just told something. If my aunt came over and they were sitting in the kitchen talking and she told something embarrassing about me, I would cringe. But in this case, everything. I mean, can you imagine? You get your period. Your mother wants to talk about it. You get acne. Your mother sticks the camera in your face to show your acne. You go to get your braces on. Your mother sticks the camera in your face while you're getting your braces on. I mean, every single thing that these kids have to do, she has to film it.
Right.
I couldn't live like that. I'm telling you.
No, I couldn't either.
Especially as a teenager. And here's the thing that bothers me about the oldest son. He is her moneymaker because he is adorable, right?
Yeah, well, and he's drama. He's the shit show. That's everybody wants the shit show.
But here's the thing. When I looked at that camp in the wilderness, right? I read the whole thing through.
Yeah, so did
I do not believe that anything that he has done at home warrants him going there. The way I read that was that's for kids who are more on the maybe even borderline juvenile delinquents, doing things out of the home that are crazy, behavioral problems that are scary to the parent.
Right.
He was just, let's just say he was being an asshole to his brother. Yeah. That's the behavioral problem. And they said that psychologists told them to do these things. They agreed with taking away the bed. I want to know what psychologist told them it's okay to take away your kid's bed for 7 months. Please, someone, is there a psychologist in the house? I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
don't believe it.
They say that, these mental health professionals or whatever are the ones advising them, telling them to do all this stuff. But, I find that really hard to believe. Although, I'm sure anybody on the internet can say something, I'm sure that they,
Well,
I
I
don't know.
hope, I
I
don't know. I
just,
hope they stop it. I do hope that they
I
stop.
do hope they stop too. Just please take better, precautions to make sure your kids are safe. That's all I care about, honestly. Make your millions, please, by all means, have a future for your family. That's beautiful, but stop putting adult problems on kids. They're not responsible for making sure that you have an income. That's not their job.
No.
And a 5-year-old is not developmentally ready or able to prepare their own lunch
But at
every
5
single
years
day.
old, come on, at 5 years old.
No.
Oh my God. At 5 years old, my mother took me out of kindergarten because I was too stressed because the teacher was mean, and this little boy used to throw up every day because he was very nervous. And I was going home. I'm serious. All right. So we would listen.
Diane is still traumatized from this kindergarten
I
class.
am. Listen, every
He would
day.
throw up every day because he was so nervous. Poor
Okay.
baby.
So we would eat our little lunch that we had. I think it was only like my mother would pack like a half a sandwich because it wasn't a full day. Like it wasn't a long day. It was like a half a day.
Yeah.
Kindergarten. And we would eat and then we'd have playtime, right? And get up and dance or whatever it is. And we'd be dancing in the circle, whatever he puked. So I must have been going home telling my mother, I can't take this. The kid is puking every day, Mrs. Siegel.
Was it really every day, or was it like once or twice?
Well, no, it probably wasn't every day. It might have been once, but it was enough.
So poor kid throws up once and she goes home to her mom.
Yeah,
Every day he's throwing up, Mom.
but here's the thing. I must have been acting out or telling my mother something about, oh, you're welcome. The Dad Challenge podcast. You're welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thank you so much.
So I think that I must have been telling my mother that, listen, this teacher's not right. I don't know. What could a 5-year-old tell their mother? But my mother pulled me out of kindergarten.
Yeah.
Because she must have said, Diana's way too stressed. I can't have this. That's right. And I did not have to make my own lunch.
No.
And
No,
then in first
that's
grade,
not a normal thing that 5-year-olds do.
in first grade, I had a problem too.
Well, what happened in first grade?
In first grade, I had the crazy teacher who, in order for us to go to the bathroom, we had to put our hands on our head. That was a sign.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
And it was playtime.
In your own
piss. In my own piss, yes.
I'll never forget that story.
Oh, she was just downright mean. She was sitting at her desk. She wouldn't acknowledge me. I stood in front of her desk with my hands on my head, and she would not look up. She did it intentionally. So I went to the front of the room where everybody was playing, and I peed on the floor. And then she looked up.
Yeah, I bet she did.
And then she said, where did this water come from? And then, meanwhile, I have pissed down my tights because I'm wearing tights, right? And I say to her, oh, I was carrying a cup of water from the back, and I threw it because I didn't know what to do. I don't remember what happened after that. I don't remember going home and what my mother said. She must have said, Diane, what happened? Why are your tights wet? But I don't remember that part. I only remember the part where I peed and what she did.
Yeah.
Poor pissy potty. It's terrible. I didn't want to go back.
Well, I don't blame you, honestly. And I'm only laughing because, now you can laugh a little bit at it. And really, though, the reality is that's really sad. That makes my heart hurt. That's not how classrooms are supposed to be.
It was very, very sad. And of course, listen, I guess, and I couldn't hold it. I don't know.
Well, you're a child. No, of course you can't.
And if I was older, I would have just walked out of the classroom and went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But you can't do that when you're 6 years old.
No, you can't.
So I was caught between a rock and a hard place. I didn't know what to do, and nature took its course. That's all I can say. God, I mean, why do teachers do that?
I don't know. I've never done that. I would never do that to
No,
my kid.
I just think there are certain people that are not cut out to be teachers. That's all I can think of.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you there. Um, this kid though, the way that she describes him, he sounds like the kinds of kids that I used to work with, right? The behavior kids. And I can see some of my former students going to a camp like that.
Wait a minute, but really,
But not for what he did. Like to
No.
me, I would be looking for him to be violent or
Not violent.
but if he's not any of those things, then no, I don't see the point of going to a camp like that. But honestly, I don't live in their house, so I don't know what he does and doesn't
Okay,
do.
now here's the thing. Because they are family bloggers, right? He knew that if he woke up his little brother at 2:00 in the morning and said, we're going to Disney World or Disneyland or wherever, that's something that would be believable because they're always traveling because they're family bloggers. So
Yeah.
he believed him. Listen, it's a little prank. So yeah, he was crying. He was crying. So what? I mean, come on. So
that's when you work with the little one to prank the older one back. Like, come on now. Don't you know anything about brothers and sisters? That's when you join forces with the younger one and prank the older one back. You got to get him back. That's what you do. Why turn it into this scary ass thing where now the little brother's going to remember it for the rest of his life, traumatized. It's this big traumatic event now that he has to be punished for a year.
No, the little one is more traumatized by the mother for taking his television away. You had to see. Did you see his face when she said no electronics? And then she said to him, like he's going to really understand this. She said, "Do you understand why your iPad was taken away from you?" And he's just like sitting there looking at her like dumbfounded.
If he doesn't, and I bet in 6 months when he gets it back, he's certainly not going to remember why it was taken away.
But she says
6 months is ridiculous. Kids don't remember past a week. Like they're not going to remember what they did wrong to make you mad enough to take their stuff. That's just not how it works.
It was manipulative. Now, do you really think he knows what that word means?
No.
No.
Of course not.
But that was for the camera. That was for the people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm heartbroken for that kid. He can't even watch TV.
That is sad. Wow.
And the summer's not over. It's only the middle of June.
Right.
What are they going to do? They have no friends either.
Well, I have a feeling they're going to be getting a lot of attention this summer.
Well, I hope so. I'm sorry that some people hurt you on purpose. You're too.
Thank you, Joanne. You're so sweet.
You're such a sweetheart. I mean, it's life. We're all going to run into someone, whether it be a teacher or a crazy parent, for that matter, that doesn't treat you right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely back in those days, the teachers were a little. In grade 2, I had terrible stomach pains, but we were having a hot dog day, and I loved hot dogs, so I lied and said I was fine. I passed out in the hospital with appendix removed. Whoa.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
That is very scary.
These things that, it's funny, the things that I remember, like I was in Girl Scouts, by the way, and we went to Sagamore Hill and to see what's his name's house, Teddy Roosevelt. Is it his house? I can't remember now, but Sagamore Hill on Long Island. And on the bus ride, one of the girls puked in the bus. And I was like, damn, no, because that was, I'm always dealing with puke for some reason from kindergarten up. I'm like, why are people always puking around me? In fact, in another grade, we had double desks, like they were double together, and I had a girl sitting next to me, and I must not have been looking, but she puked all over the desk, and she didn't make any noise, so I didn't hear it.
Oh no! Don't even finish that sentence. I don't want to know the rest of the story.
Nothing got on me, but the teacher commended me for not reacting. But let me tell you this: I would have reacted if I had known. I would have been like, "Are you kidding me?"
You would have reacted to that.
Damn, it was that. I don't know. It just elementary school, I remember like walking through the hall if I was going to the bathroom and some kid puked on the floor. It was always puke around me. My sister used to puke. She always got car sick, and I would tell my mother, put her in the front seat with you. She's going to puke. and we would get to almost where we're going, and we would stop for something to eat. And what would my sister do? She had horrible taste in eating things, so she would have some kind of tomato juice or something like that, and then something else creepy. And I knew she was going to throw up, and she did. She would throw up, and then when she would throw up at home, I would say to my mother, "I am not sleeping in the bed." This is before we each had our own room. "I'm not sleeping in the bed with her. She's going to throw up again." My mother would say, "No, she's not. No, she's not." And I'd say, "Well, I'm not sleeping in the bed with her," and I wouldn't, and then she would throw up. So
Hey, Republican Ash.
I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. She does, Vicky. She has a lot of barf stories.
Yeah, I have a lot. And then
It's very traumatizing for her. So
it was very traumatizing for me. I just couldn't handle it.
yeah.
But then when I was 15, I started getting a little bit more, nervy. I had a teacher who was the most annoying teacher. He shouldn't have been a teacher. He asked me a question in class, and I said, "I don't know the answer," right? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, "There is no such thing as not knowing the answer." So I said to him, "But I don't know the answer." And I got a little snippy with him. I said, "Are you, are you trying to start a fight with me?" I got really pissed at him. I had an argument with him. I was 15 years old. Don't tell me that I don't know the answer. Don't tell me that I do know the answer when I don't. You're the teacher. That's why I said to him, "You're the teacher. You tell me." So I get a little snippy at 15.
Little smart ass.
A little smart assy. I did. Yeah, started speaking up. I should have spoke up when I was 5 to the teacher.
That's right. My son was advised to be put in one of those camps. We actually refused to do it because he would never have been able to handle it. Paige, good for you. Good for you for making that. You know your kids better than anybody else.
Look what she said. I puked on my sister's head when I was little.
She never let me forget it. Yeah, I doubt. I bet she isn't going to let you ever forget that.
A teacher wouldn't let me go to the bathroom because I was hacking so hard. I was gagging and heaving. Finally, I knew I was going to puke, so I went to his desk. Oh my God. Did you puke on his desk?
Oh my God. She just cut off at the big cliffhanger.
Yeah. Said, "I thought I told you you can't go." And I roused all over the top of his desk. Yay!
Oh man, that is bad.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And thus ends the tale of why teachers don't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
Because I don't know any teachers that do that. But especially if a kid says they're going to throw up, get out, go as fast as
get out of here.
Run. I don't care where you end up. Just get out of the class. If you need to go end up in a bush, so be it. Just get out of the classroom.
Well, I'm pretty sure now that if your kid has puked, you can't send them to school. They won't let that kid come into school if they puked.
Oh, well, my old school did. I don't know. Nowadays, it's a little different, but my old school would let you come if you were throwing up. It's just if you had more than, what was it? They actually had a phrase for it. If you have more than 2 violent expulsions. I think it was violent expulsions.
Oh my God.
Is that a word? That's the word, right? Violent expulsions, which means it could be top end or, bottom end. Doesn't matter. Either way, if you have a violent expulsion out of either of those areas, more than 2, not just 1, has to be 2, then we could send you home.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh my God.
But I'm just an aide in a kindergarten class, so what do I know?
That's true. An aide or wait, I think you were less than that even.
Oh, was I less than that? Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're less than that around here in the YouTube.
I didn't realize. I thought I've been demoted even further. Okay.
Yeah, you've been demoted. I think you're just an aide, like some kind of aide around the school. I don't know.
Okay. Like a yard aide or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe you're in the lunchroom.
Cafeteria, maybe. Yep. Maybe.
You might be in the cafeteria. Oh, look, PJ has her new diamond too.
Yeah, several of us do.
Yeah.
Today is the I can't believe it's already been 2 months since we've had.
Yeah. Oh my God, time is flying.
Yeah.
Crystal says so too. And Stellar.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. That's what I'm saying. Oh, I'm just a volunteer now, Crystal. Okay, gotcha. We had to carry our own small rug to kindergarten class. I remember that.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
or your grandma. I do. I work in the cafeteria. I don't know what I'm saying. Um, in preschool, we had the little carpet squares, and we had to drag those to the circle.
Oh, God.
Expulsions, yes.
Expulsions.
Violent expulsions too, not just expulsions isn't good enough. It has to be violent expulsions.
Yes, that is the pink girly boomerang.
And you know, the longest wait was between that first violent expulsion and the second violent expulsion because all you want to do is send them home. Please, God, let it happen again so they can go home. Poor things.
No, I'd be saying,
Go home
please
and get
don't
rest.
happen. I'd be like, no, don't happen again.
Oh, no, you wanted it to happen again so they would go home.
Oh, God.
Otherwise, we weren't allowed to send them home. And so then the whole rest of the day, you're worried that you're being infected by this scary, whatever virus this kid caught. And it's not like, some special ed kids can tell you whether they ate something bad or they're just sick. So you have to guess.
Ugh.
Man, it was awful.
Oh, Kit Kat, is Zigzag going live? Forgot.
They said no. They said they're going to cancel it and wait till tomorrow.
Oh.
But, Kit Kat, if you guys want to go live, we'll end this right now. We'll head over there.
Yeah, we can end this
and
right now.
support you because, I absolutely want to support you 100%.
Yeah.
And as far as Uni is concerned, she's dumb. I don't care what Uni
Now,
has.
why is Uni even in the picture? I don't even
know why she's laughing. What is she laughing at? She's laughing at Kit Kat's pain and horror that she's going through. Cool.
It is a pink dong. Someone was just making fun of it. It is actually a pink dong. But it does look like, whatever people are saying, it looks like a uterus with fallopian tubes, a boomerang, but it's a thong. People want to know, some people want to know why is Diane so obsessed with thongs? Not obsessed with them, just prefer them over diapers. Okay, you're going to do it tomorrow night. All right. I forgot all about it. Forgot. All right, but I think we've been on for 2 hours and I think we covered the topic at hand, but I will say this, everyone. Friday night. You don't want to miss Friday night. You don't want to miss Friday night.
Yeah, come back Friday night. So we'll drop some more tea.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the triggered princess over there. Bless her heart.
Oh, really, Trisha? You went to a small country school. What is that like?
Hello, Prepper.
Prepper, hello.
Happy mother-in-law's back day. Nice. Nice.
We will be there, Coach Wallets.
Yeah, Coach Wallets.
Oh my God!
I love that they're bagging on our Coach Wallets. Like, I'm sorry, you're giving away what? People can't even get their wine goblets out of you.
Well, because we're really scam artists, and
so Coach Wallets are something to sneeze at now. I'm sorry, I thought they were nice.
I don't know. They're I don't know. Someone said they're so 2006.
That was Makeup's Lobster that said that.
Here's the thing. I like Coach. First of all, I'm more of a shoe person than a handbag person. But the handbags that I have bought, I bought them from Coach because they have some really beautiful styles. I like them. They're well made. They last a long time. And they're not, and some of them are expensive. I will say that. Some Coach bags are very expensive.
I still have my original Coach wallet that I've had for years.
Yeah, I love them. They're very well made.
Yeah, that's a good wallet.
I don't care if it's Michael Kors or whatever it is. So what? Why even bringing it up? Why? Oh, it's so 2006. Well, they're still here, and it's 2020. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but whatever. They need something to make fun of, apparently.
I don't know. But I am not going to take responsibility. I'm not going to be blamed or be part of people being blamed for the hardship that has fallen upon Laura. I'm sorry. That's not going to fly with me. And I will be talking about that Friday night.
Oh, yeah. for sure.
Not going to fly with me. So Laura, knock it off.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'll put on some sad music and I won't need therapy anymore and I'll start crying. I don't have to pay my therapist. In fact, I have an appointment on Friday. Maybe I'll cancel it, wait for Friday night, put on some sad music, and cry my eyes out.
Well, make sure you do that like this, and then say things like how you didn't mean to cry. I didn't mean to cry. Okay.
And I will make sure that because I do have allergies, I'll make sure I don't blow my nose all day.
Yes.
And I'll wait. See, I have allergies, so I can do that. Well, I could do that too.
So there you go. That's what we'll do on Friday. We'll do a reenactment of her stream.
I mean, she used my content. Where she uses me in her tags. We don't use her
She
for
pays to be a member of our channel
content.
and Molly's channel. I'm sorry. I think that's funny as hell. I think that is funny as hell. She pays her money. This broke bitch who can barely feed herself pays money to be in our paid, not Patreon, in our paid membership and Molly's. That is hilarious.
Oh, do they do amazing collabs? Maybe I'll ask a coach for a discount code.
Ooh, I bet they'd love that.
Maybe I'll see if they'll do that. Right, and you'll make sure you super chat me for the song too.
Yes,
I'm crying.
Of course. Bring a small violin. No one has been hurt on this platform longer than me. I am the worst victim everywhere. No one has been hurt as much as I have been. Oh, really? You think so? I respectfully disagree.
And we've been going at her for 18 months. Does she keep extending that?
I don't think I've even known her for 18 months, have I?
I don't know if I know her for 18 months.
And I'm sorry that you've been an asshole for 18 months and people don't like you. Like, what do you want me to say to that? But I haven't been coming at you straight for 18 months.
No, neither have I.
So you're a joke, dude. You're a joke. I'm sorry. You're an ass. People don't like you. What do you want me to say to that? I can't make you more likable. I've tried.
She's been on my panel many times. So,
yeah, we tried to get people to like her. Didn't work.
Yeah, we did.
She's a horrible human being, so nobody likes her. Sorry.
We did.
Like, say? I'm sorry. Nobody's liked you for a year. Well, and from what I understand, it's not from just a year and a half that people don't like her. People have not liked her for a long ass time. You guys, well, I can't say, right? Oh man, you guys, I wish I could tell you the stuff that I know, you guys.
Wait, type it in the chat. Type it in the private chat. Well, what was it that you want to say? I'll tell you if you should.
All right. I mean, we can wait till Friday.
We can wait till Friday, but we can just give a little, preview. Right. But tell me what it is, and I'll tell you if I think.
Okay.
All right. Oh.
But we can talk about it later.
I think that was.
I mean, because I want to, but I wish that I could tell you guys everything that is being told to us.
Yeah.
I mean, and we'll share it eventually. We will. But it hasn't just been 18 months.
Yeah. We'll share that. We'll share that on Friday night. Because of the things let's just say this, because of what happened with Randy, people are reaching out.
Big time. Big time. And I'm so thankful to the people in this community for how they have rallied around Randy. That is so, so kind of everybody. I've seen the videos.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Twitter, of course, is blown up. I've seen community posts. You guys are freaking amazing. Thank you so much for standing behind Randy for all of this. And, it just shows me that there are good people in this community. There are still good people here. I'm not willing to just give up on this whole community. I'm just not. There's still good people here that care about the right thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I said to Randy, so you have no idea how many people went to bat for you. I said, I have to write you a list of all of the creators that, either talked about it on their live stream or made a video about it.
Yes, so many people came out in droves. So
Yeah.
this blew up in her face. So this little warning where she thought she was trying to be so adult. No, let's say it what it really was. It was a threat and it blew up in your face. So you look like a fool. That's really what it comes down to. You look like an absolute fool. And everybody sees it for exactly what it is. And I love it. I'm living for it big time. And I love that at the same time, there's some new mole that decided they want to share all your shit with us. I love that too. Sorry.
Yeah, and again,
Sorry. Go ahead and
not
judge. I'm a horrible person. Fine.
accused of stealing shit out of your Discord. No, I didn't go.
No, it comes to us. We don't pay money to be with your in your dirty
I didn't
shit.
pay money to be a member.
Nope.
They came to me. I didn't reach out to anyone. They came to me. I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
You think they're going to tell me who they are? So,
Oh, P-Day, it's just that they all want a tidbit now. It's just like I said, I mean, that's the clue. Your clue is that okay. Okay. Your clue is that, this isn't just this community. It isn't just 18 months. She's been hated for a while. And yes, a piece of shit person. Yes, exactly. She's been a piece of shit person for a long time. And that's why info is being dropped in our lap about her. Unfortunately for her, it's funny for us, but, and I'm sorry, she can be mad that I laugh at her triggered tantrum. I do though. I laugh at her triggered tantrum. I think it's funny as hell. Sorry. I'm sorry. I think it's funny. Be mad at me. Go ahead. But her triggered tantrums are the best. And to be fair, I like it when Diane has a triggered tantrum. So there you go. I'm not playing favorites.
That is true.
I laugh my ass off when Diane gets triggered. So it's not just Laura.
That is true.
I laugh my ass off when I get triggered. Like, it's funny. It's funny as hell.
We all get, triggered at some point. We all
funny.
do.
Yeah, of course.
But
and you better laugh. It's funny as fuck. Yes, Sigrid did a really good video. I was really impressed.
Yes, she did. I was very happy to see that because she really was on the fence for a long time. There was a time that she would come into our chat, then she didn't, and then she was going over to Laura. But this is something that she's been watching for a long time, and she has seen a definite change. And then this was for her the icing on the cake. She made that very clear that she's not down with that.
Yeah.
So
Corey tried to do that too, where she's like, I'm not going to go and be in Laura's anymore because this was too far. But then, of course, her hatred for us trumped that. So she's right back in there. So that doesn't surprise me. Corey's exactly where she belongs. You found your tribe, Corey. Go hang out with her.
Well, I don't understand that.
50 Shades, that's how I feel. I love it when she gets triggered, but I love it when anyone gets triggered. Yes, girl. Yes. I'm living for it.
Well, like I said, I never reached out to anybody. I never said, I want information. She's trying to dig for information on Randy. She wants to go to shoot the shit. I mean, come on. What kind of
that she doesn't understand that shoot the shit is not a good resource. They're known liars. They have lied on us more than once and apologized.
Yeah.
And pick up shit as they go along, unfortunately. They just do. Sometimes it can be funny as hell.
I mean, pretty much everything that's already been out there has been out there. You know what I mean? Like the whole,
what you're gonna find.
Yeah, what do you, there's nothing new. I mean, everything's been put out there. And then she lied and said, how Randy went at Mama Beth. No, you don't know the story. You don't know the history of what went on with them on Twitter and the things. But here's the thing also about that you don't know. And I'm surprised at Beth for this. You went up on Randy's panel and apologized to her.
Right.
And
just her opening line today that, she attacked Mama Beth for no reason. I mean, just that opening statement alone is wrong information. That's wrong information that you have right there. She doesn't even realize or care that she has wrong information. And so she's going to look so stupid when she puts these people up on her panel to talk shit about us. Here's the thing. 4 years ago, when I first got here, I was a totally different person than I am now. We didn't have a platform. Diane and I weren't streaming together back then. I had my small, tiny little group of people. I was a no name. Nobody knew really who I was.
Well, me too.
Yeah. And you too. Like really 4 years ago, it was a whole different scenario than it is now. There are things that I did back then that I'm not proud of and I would not do again. I learned from them and I didn't do them again. If you want to go through all the terrible things that I've done, you certainly can. But the point is that I'm not doing those things today. That's the point. That I learned from doing some of those things. I've learned not to do them.
New York Cat wanted my address. I saw that. I have the screenshot.
Yeah, New York Cat wanting your address. Like,
Well, you can get it from Laura. I gave it to Laura.
how is that okay though? Like, why is nobody calling her out for that? She asked multiple times for your address in the chat. Laura didn't give a fuck.
I know. And then my mother's account was in there. You know, just crazy shit. And of course, Selena using my maiden name, thinking it was okay because she's heard Katie use it, so it's okay.
Well, Selena is a loser. I'm sorry. I don't like Selena. I've never liked Selena. Do you know she actually said the phrase, I hate Wendy? She literally hates me.
I don't know why. You've never done anything.
I've never done a thing to her. I've never done a damn thing to her. I leave her alone. I don't even harass her. She comes in and asks me all kinds of personal weird questions. And this is a person who hates me. So why would I tell you anything about myself? Go away. Like, you're weird as fuck, dude. You're weird. I've not done a thing to her. She literally hates me. That is weird. I'm too in your head. You need to log off, boo-boo.
It is. It's
Shouldn't be anybody here. That's weird.
Very weird. But, you know, whatever. I don't know what to say. But I don't think she wants to send me a coach purse. I don't think so. I don't know what their intent is. But here's the thing. I don't know who they are. They have a name, New York Cat. I don't know who they are. Why are you asking for my address? What are you going to do with it?
Right. That's what I want to know. Yes, Crystal. That's right. Kimberly, exactly. I'm not even close to the same person. I live and learn. That's right. They're pretty sad to hate someone online. Right, Sarah Beth? Isn't that weird? She doesn't even know me. She's never had one conversation with me. She doesn't know anything about me other than what she's made up in her own head.
Yeah, I don't hate anyone either.
And she literally wrote the words, I hate Wendy. What? That's so weird.
Well, hate is a very strong word.
Very strong word.
I hate anyone.
Yeah. Of course, she's listening to Laura say that I said her kids deserve to have CPS call on them and da-da-da, you know.
Right.
If that's all I heard, I'd probably hate me too. But none of that happened. None of that's true. Ask Laura to prove it. Prove where I said that your kids deserve that. Prove it. Because I never said anything like that. In fact, I've only ever said the opposite. So nice try, Laura. You're making yourself look like a fool.
Well, like
we'll talk about that on Friday.
We'll talk about it on Friday. We'll have all of our ducks in a row.
Yes.
Oh, really? New York Cat used to come in Dave's chat, but was just some college student, or so she portrayed herself as that. I don't know. Look, some of these people, I don't know who they are. I don't care to know who they are. But why are you asking for my address? And who do you think is going to give it to you?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I mean, that's what we've come to on here. Oh, I don't like that person, so I want their address. I don't want anyone's address.
No, I don't want anyone's address.
But we'll talk about it all on Friday. And I think we're going to have other people up on panel as well. And yeah.
Good. I hope so. Is she having meatball on her pan? I don't know what she's doing. I have no idea. And, and that's fine. She's welcome to have whatever information she wants. But the problem is that, of course, she's going to go live thinking she's got some bombshell on Randy or me or Diane or whoever. And then we'll end up going live, or Randy will go live and we'll dispute it. We'll put the truth out there and she's just going to look like a fool. Like, that's how it's going to go. It's not going to go some way where, Randy gets canceled. That's just never going to happen. Otherwise it would have happened by now.
Yeah. The only thing that I've ever done that was, years and years ago was I sent a damn pizza. All right. I did call CPS on Trisha. But there was a reason for that. And that's it. That's the dirt on me on YouTube. I haven't done anything else. I've never gone real life. I've never, called the cops on people. I just, there's nothing. That's it. You've heard it all. They've all heard it all. That's all they have.
Her followers believe everything she says, even if they see it, they pretend that they don't. Those are the ones I don't want to associate with. Kimberly, that's exactly how I feel. Like those are the people that I want to unsub and go away from us. Like I don't want them anywhere near us. These are people that I don't want to fuck with at all. I just don't. I have no desire to fuck with them because they have totally different values than I will ever have. Sorry. Right, Trisha? Yeah, Randy will never be canceled. That's just never going to happen. Nice try, Laura. That's never going to happen.
Nope, never gonna happen. Never. All right, guys, it is 11:20 here. Diane, thank you for a great show tonight. Well, Robin, thank you, and thank you all for coming. I know it wasn't your typical drama night, but I thought this was an important
I think
topic.
it was an important topic. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do watch family bloggers, and I know there are people that had opinions on it, and it was all over YouTube, all over. And I would love, one night too, if he does a live stream, to go on his channel with him.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
really nice guy. I like him. In fact,
Yeah.
I have to email him and thank him for coming on, and I do want him to keep in touch and let us know if anything's going on.
Well, it sounds like if anyone's going to get some kind of a,
Oh yeah,
legislature passed, it sounds like, he might just be the guy to do it.
yeah, and he knows other people that are obviously been, working on this. Like I said, there is a legit. I even have the link to it. I don't know how. I haven't checked it, but there is a petition that a lot of people are signing. To have CPS check on this because they really feel from outside.
That feels weird to me. I have such a weird feeling about that. Maybe it's because I come from these communities where CPS was used to and is used to harass each other.
Yeah, they're not.
And that's not, I don't want that to happen to this family. I don't want them harassed. I really just want them helped and maybe, given some guidelines of how to continue their channels successfully without exploiting their kids.
Sarah, look, Sarah, I know you like a book. Look what she's doing. She's trying to. See what kind of memory I have, Sarah?
You need to read it, though. It's important.
I know. It's been a huge story. Thank you for covering it, Sarah. I know what
now, Sarah, you're not doing it right, girl. You need to say something like, this has been a huge story of human awareness. Everybody practice being human. Things like that.
Yeah, she thought she was going to slip that by me, and I didn't know that, it was her doing it. There's it. Busted. She's been busted.
Funny.
I know. I your name is right here in the front of my brain.
She knows. She knows what's coming.
That's right. I know what's coming. It's you. But I think it's funny.
I think it's very funny too. All right, we're leaving now. Goodbye, everybody. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, have a good rest of the weekend until Friday, and be here Friday night.
Behave yourselves, please.
Yes, everybody be good.
Be good. We'll see you Friday.
All right. Bye.
And don't forget to watch Kit Kat and Zigzag tomorrow night. They have very important things that they need to talk about for this community.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very important that we're all there to support them, take care of them.
And don't forget the Dad Talon podcast. His channel is in my description. Please go and check out his channel. He's really great. And watch the videos he was talking about. You'll enjoy them. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you then.
See you Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Love you guys.